All right. Hello, everybody. Yo, everybody.
Yo,
Hey!
Uh,
Yo, let's get started. Hey, guys. How's it going? My name is Justin,
Mark,
and I'm Philip.
and you're watching and or listening to episode 481 of DangIT Prodcast. Welcome back, everybody. It's been one hell of a week, but how have you guys been?
yeah, I've been all right. How you been?
Doing good on my end?
Tired,
I, I saw the slight, sleep gesture. I was like, oh, boy.
Here's how you
Tired,
feels.
but I'm
Phil's
chilling
work life.
today. So
It just feels work life summed up in one sentence.
Basically.
I'm
we're
chilling.
we're prepping the house for next week. So
Oh, yes. Guys, I know it's early, but happy early Thanksgiving.
yeah, well, we're not doing a podcast next week, so consider this the Thanksgiving episode.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Cast?
Wait, have we discussed this? Did we talk about this?
The Thanksgiving
You
cast?
did.
Oh.
You discussed this to me literally that you're gonna be gone that weekend.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. But yeah. Oh wait, was I gonna be gone like that? Oh yeah, I guess it is like legitimately sitting on that Saturday. I should be. Well, I mean, I think I should still be available for doing that, but I understand if no one else can. So.
Well, we'll see. I
Yeah.
have to prep for a third dinner that night. So
Oh my god. So yeah, no, I think a lot of my stuff might take place just in the evening on that day, but otherwise, yeah, no.
oh, okay. Well, I spoke ahead of time. How's your day, Justin?
Doing good. I pretty much had sat down to do another registration for Comic-Con. So last time it was the pre-registration for those who are returning, and this one was for open to everybody. And luckily enough, we got a lot of our tickets already, or badges, and we just used the rest to pick up whoever was remaining. So I had to do that for one of my cousin's friends, so he's able to get in. But yeah, no, we're pretty much ready on our end. As far as the badge stuff, we just need to get a whole reservation for a hotel somewhere. So we'll see how that plays out. But after that, I kind of took my sweet time just doing stuff. I was posting videos out there for TikTok, and later on, pretty much before we got started, I finally got around to GameStop to pick up my copy of Super Mario RPG, as well as get some hair gel. So I was like, nice.
Yeah.
I also got the hair gel from GameStop. No, I didn't. Could you imagine?
Whoa, the official Cyberpunk hair gel.
Whoa.
This shit is preem.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
No problem.
Oh my
It's
god.
it's so interesting with the branding for RPG because it used to have the long subtext for it.
Oh, hold on.
As well as the whole background scheme for the
I can pull that out.
yeah, Super Nintendo.
He's pulling his cock
Because I also picked up Mario
He's pulling his cock out.
We in there. We in there. I also picked up Mario RPG.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I believe the change is actually because the Switch version is based on the Japanese version.
Oh,
Super
really?
Famicom. So in Japan, they didn't have that subtitle. It's just straight up Super Mario RPG.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. In America, because RPGs were still very niche for us, they were like, we got to sell this.
Oh,
Super
yeah.
Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars. That sounds badass.
That's fair enough.
Yeah. But I kind of like the white.
I do. I kind of like it too.
It's kind of a hot take, but it reminds me of old Square games because in Japan, a lot of Final Fantasy games or covers are just the logo. It's very clean. It's a very clean look.
Mm-hmm.
Also looks like the Live Alive remake as well.
Oh yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah.
Just don't say it looks like Live Alive.
I thought it was Live Alive because of the technically. I know this is going to be a side tangent. That's not my RPG. Real quick.
Fair.
Yeah, I thought it was always Live Alive because the entire point of the game is you're living different lives.
Yeah,
right,
Live Alive.
Live Alive, exactly. But nope, screw me. Nintendo and Square's translation is Live Alive, and I'm like, that makes no sense.
It's probably just a translation thing. It's just the way it's directly translated, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But I always thought it was Live Alive because you're living different lives. Duh, that makes sense.
Because sometimes there's translations that are the official translations, but sometimes it's too literal, and they didn't just say it as this is they're actually trying to say. They would say maybe it's actually Live Alive. They should know it's live.
It's live alive, laugh a laugh, and love a laugh. I'm sorry.
So we went there, did we?
Cut that part out.
I'm done. Cut the show.
Nah, but yeah. Speaking of Square RPG remakes, this is a good one, man. Yeah, this is one of my 3 pickups this week. But if we're already doing that, you know, if I'm jumping the gun, we might as well jump the gun to Mario RPG, right?
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I want to point out actually something about the cover since we're talking about it at this point.
Yeah.
When you look at the backside, they obviously want to like advertise it. Action-packed battles, triple moves, beginner's welcome is the one I wanted to point out. It's like, oh, they're really just trying to push for like, you know, if you get this game, this is a totally like open type of thing for anyone who's just new to the genre. So
there's
very
a
interesting that
breezy
he went
mode.
that.
There's a breezy mode that they added.
Really? That's what they're. Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. I thought it was just. Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, they added an easier mode for people who just don't like RPGs and they just kind of want to experience the story. Here's the thing.
Baby mode.
Here's the thing, though. I'm saying this as a fan of the Mario RPG series. I'm talking like Paper Mario. I'm talking about Mario and Luigi, and obviously Mario RPG. The Mario RPGs are like baby's first RPGs. They always have been.
Yeah, sure. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like they're not meant to be like these incredibly tough. Like, if you want the hard content in these games, you have to go out of your way to get the side stuff. The actual main story, it's not hard. I actually love, like, whenever people are like, I don't play RPGs, what should I play first? I usually always recommend one of the Mario ones because it's the easiest one to get into. Because it's not just turn-based. You're actually having to time your attacks. For anybody who doesn't know how Mario RPG works, you don't just hit attack and then he attacks like during the turn-based battles. You have to actually time your attacks while he's doing the animation. So it's more of a timing at all. Like you're always pressing a button at all times. Yeah. Which is not the normal traditional way to play an RPG. I know Mark and Justin are like the big Pokemon fans here. That's why I'm saying like it's easier than Pokemon.
Honestly, we're talking like old school Pokemon. Sometimes they weren't that easy.
Sometimes.
Exactly.
Yeah, that milk tank always comes back.
Looking at you, Cynthia.
And Mario RPG came out before Pokemon, I think. No.
Cynthia was crushing children.
1998?
I think 94.
94? No
let
way.
me check. Let me check. Fact check.
Oh, that's
I was gonna say there's no way.
1996.
Oh, okay. So these came out the same year. Okay.
Whoa.
Yeah, because Mario RPG is 96.
Crazy. Okay.
Wow. All right. That's cool. Well, look, the point is they're very easy RPGs. If you're looking for like the biggest challenge, you're not going to get it here.
It ain't here.
Normal mode is still easy. All it does is cap items, like how many you can hold in your inventory. And even then, they send it to a storage box. So if you need items, let's say you have 10 mushrooms.
Okay.
And you get more, it'll just automatically send them to a storage. And
that's
you can
nice.
just go back to the house and get them. I believe that's new. I'm not sure. I have to replay original Mario RPG to do a good comparison. I will. Let me talk about like the changes so far that I've noticed. Translation wise, it is the American version. Like they kept the weird funny like American translation, because if you didn't know, back in the day in Super Nintendo RPGs, especially the ones from Square, there was one guy who translated most of these, and he like took liberty with it. He didn't actually do a 1-for-1 translation. So he he inserted like pop culture references and he did some other things to it. They did remove the pop culture references. Like a lot of those are not here. Like the Bruce Lee joke is gone.
Oh no.
Oh.
Yep. The Bruce Lee joke is gone, but you know, it is still, for the most part, a lot of the text is correct. They also changed a lot of the names because they were puns in America. Like the one I'm very mad about is they changed Frogfucius. They changed Frogfucius to just Frog Sage, and I'm like,
it's not the same. It's different.
but they changed Mac. So Mac was a boss, and they changed him to Clay Morton, and I was like, that's perfect. That's literally his Japanese name. It's perfect.
Okay.
So from what I've noticed so far, this is mostly based on the Japanese version. The buttons are color coded like the Super Famicom buttons.
Okay.
What was I gonna say? The way the text and everything, like the title screen, even the logo, it's all Japanese. Like it's based, even the cover art, even the cartridge, the minuscule detail of the actual Switch cartridge matches the Super Nintendo card or the Super Famicom card.
All that detail.
All that little detail. It's just Mario standing in a white background. That's what the card is. And it matches what that's what it was on Super Famicom. It's just Mario standing in a white background. And I was like, that's pretty damn good. But the biggest changes, there's two. And I do want to mention them because I was a little scared when I saw them, because I was like, ooh, that just makes an already easy RPG even easier. And that's the finishing triple move and the splash damage. If you time, so splash damage is not as bad as I thought it was going to be, easy wise, because you have to, there's like, you can get the timing right on your attack, but you have to be dead on for it to actually do splash damage. Like if you even off the rhythm a little bit, it won't do the splash damage. It'll do a decent amount of damage, but it won't do the splash.
I feel like that just ruins the point of splash damage.
No, you have to be when you time your button press, it has to be like on the very exact like timing. One like little frame off, and it won't do the splash damage. The original doesn't even have it, so it's fine.
The whole point of splash damage is hits area, also goes out in an area around the center of the attack, so that's usually what's referred to as splash.
It's a reward for playing better, is what I'm trying to say.
Fair.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I'm just like this is a very tricky reward.
Yeah. There's also, on top of that, there's chaining now. So as long as you're actually inputting your inputs correctly, it'll chain. And the bigger chain, the more bonuses and stat boosts you get.
All right, that sounds good, especially for when things get, harder.
Yeah. So like every character has their own unique stat boost. So
combo
Mario has like special attack up. Gino has attack and defense up. Mallow has magic up, and I haven't gotten to Bowser and Peach yet, so I don't know yet.
Okay.
For people who know the game, I'm currently at Booster Tower. That's literally where I'm at right now. I think I'm about to have Bowser join my party. And then the big triple finisher. So the more you chain, the more you can build up this new gauge, and that gauge is this little percentage on the bottom left now. And if you fill it up, you're able to do a triple finishing move with the party you have. And every party has their own cinematic and their own special unique triple finish. Ooh. So any combination.
Okay.
They all have different unique ones. So like Mario, so like I said, I only have Mario, Mallow, and Gino. So with them, they do what is called the Star Road. And they'll like fly in the air, and they'll use one of the stars and then just shatter like a whole damage on everybody.
Okay.
On one opponent, on one enemy, sorry. And the music. All right, hot take. The music in this game, the remake, right? The original composer is Yoko Shimomura of Kingdom Hearts fame. She's done a lot of Square games. She's done Kingdom Hearts, Legend of Mana.
You could argue she is the Square composer.
No, I would probably give that to Nobuo Uematsu, but
that's also fair.
I digress. There's a lot of good ones, right? The point is, she's done some incredible work. She's also done Street Fighter 2.
Whoa. All right.
She's a composer for Street Fighter 2. The original version, not the Super Street Fighter 2. But I digress. The point is, she's the original composer of this game. She's been the composer for the Mario RPGs for years. She continued to do it for Mario and Luigi series. She didn't do the Paper Mario series, but she's done it for the Mario and Luigi series. That being said, she is the supervisor for the rearranged soundtrack. This arrangement, this is the hot take. The arrangement is a total replacement for the original soundtrack. It's beautiful. It's the way they have the orchestration done, and it's the instrumentation that they're using to make the melodies and the music come to life. It feels so good, dude. The forest maze, I know that's everyone loves to like hear that one. It's incredible. When I just sat there, most of my playtime is just sitting there on the screen and just like listening. It's so good. And Nintendo and Square are nice. They've added the original soundtrack if you choose to use it.
All right,
it's not and maybe it's not your taste. Maybe you're just too old school and you want the Super Nintendo version. It's there.
All right.
But gameplay wise, this game is essentially a total replacement for the original. I don't see any reason to ever go back to the original if you're playing this.
That sounds like what it should be. Just the way a remaster usually should be, I would assume.
Exactly. And it's incredible what they've done here. They've translated, or they've made sure to replicate every single detail like from the original game to this game in HD. It's just the way Bowser's crying, it looks perfect. The way they move, the way their animation is, they made sure they pull it at every single frame of animation instead of like it being jerky in the original games. This is one of the best remakes of all time, dude. It's really good.
Whoa, okay.
It's really good. Nintendo, Square, I need more of these, but I guess we are, huh? Right, like with Paper Mario 1000 Year Door. That remains to be seen. If that game runs at 30 frames, that's already...
that's kind of rough. But
considering the game ran at 60 on GameCube, so I will say that this game also runs 60 even in cutscenes. So,
ooh, all right.
With few exceptions, there's some drops I noticed. Anything with water, the game starts chugging a little bit.
The water's just too real. That's all it is.
Water's too real, yeah. But I mean, it's nothing that isn't major. Like you're good. It's not gonna hinder your experience. It's really good.
Okay, good to hear.
I'm having a lot of fun revisiting like one of my favorite Super Nintendo games of all time. It's so good. I'm actually playing it as we do this.
Of course.
Yeah.
How long? Actually, I got a question. How long does it typically take to like finish Mario RPG?
Not like long. Mario RPGs are not as long as normal RPGs. They never are. I want to say it's like 30 hours, maybe, or less.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's longer than I was thinking it would be.
No, I mean like a normal JRPG is like
60
baseline
50.
Yeah, 50 to 60 nowadays.
No, but it was like back in the day, you'd think it might be a little smaller.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe, but this is also dependent if you're doing all the side quest stuff. If you're doing some other
completionist run is always going to take more.
Yeah, Phil, how long did it take you to finish like some of the older Final Fantasies?
Well, okay.
You can do it. People do those really fast, actually. I
was gonna say NES Final Fantasies were very short. Like Final Fantasy 1 took me a playtime of 10 hours or less.
Oh my god!
But you have to realize I wasn't using a guide for this one, but back in the day, if you were to use a guide, you would know where you're going. RPGs were designed very differently back then. So it's like, it's a 7-hour playtime overall, but it's going to extend because you're going to grind. You're going to sit here and you're going to have to do this and figure out, well, where the hell am I supposed to go? Like, it's that kind of stuff.
Gotcha. I feel like if you know where you're going, it might take you like 5 hours.
Yeah, I was going to say like 5 hours then?
If you know it, like Dragon Quest 1 took me like 8 hours max.
Wow. All right.
Yeah, and that's with following a guide. That's with following a guide for certain things, not everything. But when you're talking about Super Nintendo era RPGs, it depends. Final Fantasy 4 took me like 40 hours, maybe less. Probably like 35 hours, something like that. They're long, but like they're not modern RPGs long. They're not Persona long. Let me rephrase that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, speaking of which, isn't Tactica out too? Persona
5? I didn't get to pick it up.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard.
There's a lot of games coming out.
It's hard to pick those games up when Mario RPG comes out today. If you're not importing, Like a Dragon, the man who erased his name, came out today or yesterday as well. Like, it's like, oof. That's a lot of games. I had to make the decision, and I was like, well, of course I'm the Mario guy. I have to pick up Mario RPG. Come on. It's in my blood.
Kind of his
For sure.
branding.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of which,
Wait a minute, that shirt. Wait a minute.
Hold on. Don't attack me. I 100%ed Mario Wonder. It is done.
Oh, congrats.
The deed is complete. I have all 6 medals. I have every Wonder Seed. I did it.
I was wondering, Phil, as far as like the completion process, like how long did that take you with Mario Wonder?
No more than 15 hours, I believe.
Really? Okay.
Let me see.
I might have to go through
okay.
that.
Let's say no more than 20 because my playtime says played for 15 hours or more. So in between 15 to 20. So it's probably not 20 hours, but give or take 15 to 20.
Okay.
That is also with the fact that I only played it during streams. So if I were to actually played it at home,
Fair.
I could have,
maybe shorter.
Maybe. We'll see. But because I'm gonna run it again. But
oh my god.
I love Mario games.
It's in your blood.
Tell you, it's in my blood. Whenever a new Mario game comes out, and I have that feeling when I beat it, I'm like, man, that was good. I'm gonna just do it over again. That's a good game.
I think I have it again.
I haven't done that since Odyssey, and then before that, I haven't done that before Odyssey. I hadn't done it since like I was young. I think it was like Mario Galaxy. You know, like, so I have the urge to play it again because that's how good it is. Now, do I want 100% it again? Maybe. I haven't 100%ed Odyssey since I 100%ed it. Every time I run Odyssey, it's just to play it.
That's fair.
It's just so I might do a normal run through and see how long that takes. I will say for people who are like, oh, this Mario Wonder's too easy, y'all didn't do the secret levels.
It's always secret levels.
Y'all did not do Special World because I almost threw my controller.
Oh,
it's so hard.
I don't want to really ask because like I could probably imagine what it's like.
I'll just tell you that the final level is called Wonder Gauntlet. And it involves every single wonder mechanic in the game.
Oh, geez. It reminds me of the final thing for Odyssey, too. The darker side of the moon.
And then when I beat it, Justin, I was like, oh, I'm going to just small spoilers. I'm not going to actually spoil like story bits, but I beat it and I was like, oh, thank God I did it. I was like, oh, 15 minutes worth of trying. I was like, that was good. I did it. I beat it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the game was like, all right, now here you go. Here's the last level. It's literally called the final level. No. I was like, what?
What do you mean by final?
The final?
There's the semi-final level, there's the final level, and then there's the final. And I'm like, what
That's some parody game shit.
And it's called the badge gauntlet. It makes you use every single badge ability in the game.
Whoa.
And locks you to them in every room.
Okay. All
right. That includes the invisibility one if you didn't know.
Oh no.
And, let me tell you something, buddy. If you like jumping platforms with bouncy platforms without knowing where Mario is at all times, good luck.
Oh no.
You're in for a good time.
That took me 40 minutes worth of trying to beat.
Oh my God.
I tried.
I'm never doing that ever again.
Oh no.
Fingers, I've never had to play a Mario game like that. Well, for one, a 2D Mario game that makes me use almost all the buttons on the controller is kind of crazy enough. But dude, my fingers look like this when I'm having to do certain mechanics. I'm just like, what the hell? The grappling mechanic, you have to jump off walls, back on, off, back on. I'm like, oh my God.
Wax on, wax off.
Yep. Yeah, Wonder is incredible. But that's the thing, though. Every time I died, I know it was my fault. It was not the game's fault.
That made him mad at himself.
Yeah, like, it was nothing that the game couldn't provide me. Like, it's nothing unfair. It's hard, but it's fair. Like, you can learn it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. And I think that's important because there's games that are unfair and then there's games that are very fair with their level design, and I think that's where Mario Wonder shines the most.
You
And
saying that of how long it took you and how hard it was. That just gives me flashbacks to that one dungeon in Final Fantasy 15.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
which one? Oh, you know what? I know
yeah,
what you're talking about.
yeah, the platformer one.
Yep.
Yes, that was one of the
Yeah,
most painful things.
but that game wasn't designed as a platformer. That's the problem.
Yeah,
I
15
know,
was
I know, and that's
something
why it was
else.
painful. The game, I enjoyed the game very much, but that dungeon, I would never do the dungeon ever again.
Oh, I love 15.
Yeah,
I like
I like
16 more.
agreed 100%. Although I do miss the bromance in 16.
I do.
I would love to
Well,
play
16 actually
16,
has
but
its
I
own
don't.
like blend of that. It's through
This-
I
Gav.
want to play.
Yeah.
I'll get to play 16 one day. One day.
One day.
One day.
The PC version is coming.
I know it's coming. It's just like it's not coming fast enough.
Yeah, you're right. But
yeah.
Wonder is definitely one of my favorite games this year, and one of my favorite Mario games now.
Good.
I definitely had early, you know, like I was playing it, so obviously it was super fresh in my mind. So I have to really think about where I would place it, like in my rankings for Mario games. Here's the thing though, I know it's going in S tier. It's just a matter of
There's a
it
couple
better?
of those. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple of Mario games that are S tier. Is it better than like Odyssey World 3? You know what I mean? Like there's some Mario games I hold in high regards.
Mhm.
So I'm holding it up there with them. Wonder is literally that good.
I guess you'll have to come up with some kind of like intricate like ranking system of how you review your games. It has to be
Mhm.
very personal, whether it be like adding to the music, the gameplay, new mechanics, variations between different games. Like there's definitely a lot that you could kind of like piece out. And you know, I've been thinking about that since like we created Tanuki. Like I wanted to it'd be cool if we had like our own like review scoring of such that we can all kind of like work together on.
We should. What matters most to us as gamers in a game? Yeah,
Have you considered the idea? This is just kind of like off tangent, real quick, but
that's fine.
a
That's what we're best
certain
for.
yeah. There's one platform that does reviews, but it's like out of 40. And it's because like because the scores are typically like out of 10, and 4 people do the ranking individually, and then they add up their total out of 40.
Oh, so like
it's
out
like,
of 30 or how many people we have in Tanuki Media and just
yeah.
oh.
I was like, oh, that's actually pretty interesting. And also it's kind of like an eyeballing type of like rating. It's like, oh, why 40 exactly?
Interesting.
Then you get it.
I personally, here's the thing though, I don't know, because I don't like giving a game a number.
Oh, really?
There's like
yeah,
I personally love.
You'd rather give it a letter.
No, not a letter, but I'm more like
a shape.
It's more like, you know, like East games are like great to me, but they're never 10 out of 10, right? Like there's always some kind of jank with them.
Maybe like
but I always will sit here and give you high recommendation.
So maybe like there's I forget one
I don't know.
of them.
I don't know. I guess score is fine. It's just I don't know.
Yeah, like maybe like like hold on. It's like it, gotta have it. Gotta love
Not
it.
the Cold Stone.
Get this thing out of my sight.
Gotta have it. I mean, you could do that too. Maybe not words verbatim, but like
Yeah.
I just want to say my big criteria for ever rating a game as terrible is if I didn't have anything in it that I found fun.
Well, actually, that could be a pretty extreme like review system.
Because that is me. It's like if I didn't find any, if I find any enjoyment in a game, I can't say that I hate it.
Yeah, I think that's fair, just generally speaking, for everybody.
I think another thing that bugs me sometimes about like scoring is like a 7 out of 10 game means it's still good.
Yeah,
I mean, solid.
But people take that and we're like, oh no, it's not 10. I don't got time for this. Like,
that's just because people have their certain things of what they think the game should be, and they don't want to listen to other opinions of how someone could see that differently.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Same vein. It's kind of like the Game Awards. If it's not there, then it's like, oh, it's not great. And it's like, no, that's not true.
Yeah.
And of course, there's also sometimes where it's like, yeah, they do give their opinion, and sometimes it's like, well, you might not like their opinion, and you could just you're welcome to click off of that, but at least hear them out.
Yeah. So there's multiple review places, and also just content creators just making their own reviews.
Yeah, there's some people who want to be objective, and there's some people who would rather not be objective. They kind of just side with their internal bias.
Mm.
And some people are aware of that.
Yeah. I like when bias just like hypes up the game even more so. Not necessarily like the extreme negative side of it, where like they hate it for very particular things, and that's like the narrative that they want to push.
Yeah.
But it also makes for funny content, so I also at the same time like, yeah, all right.
True.
Super Mario Brothers 2, Game of the Year.
Super Mario
Soup,
Brothers
soup,
2,
soup.
baby.
Yeah, speaking of that, the Game Awards, right?
Oh, I got the list in front of me. Just in case.
Segue.
I got the list of nominees and everything in front of me because I'm gonna put the votes in for myself.
This episode of DangIT Productions is sponsored by Game. Nope, it's not.
No, Keely though, if you're listening.
Phil about to just hit him with the Nintendo.
Keely, please. Keely. No, that's not true. I was Justin had a stream about it on Monday, and I had some opinions about certain things.
Okay.
But how many of them are Nintendo?
How many of them are Nintendo?
He said some.
Some. Not all, but some.
Some.
You know, like I thought it was fine.
I actually held off on actually voting. I'm actually gonna do it right now.
There we go.
Although
right here.
I kind of don't really like the fact that they want you to just start with Game of the Year immediately. I like the build up.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave that for the end. We'll talk about that at the end.
Okay.
I mean, it makes sense of why it's first.
Right.
I feel like when we go over these, we should go over all of these except for content creation stuff.
And do you think esports is also one thing?
No.
Oh yeah. Okay. But I'm voting Evo.
Oh well, esports event I'm cool with talking about.
Okay.
But everything else, like I don't care.
I'm just super biased because
I'm sorry. Best esports game is also cool to talk about.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
But like content creator of the year, best esports athlete, best esports team, I don't and best esports coach, I don't care about those.
Most people only care about those if they're in the scene.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
So we'll start at best game direction then.
Best game direction. Okay. Yeah. Let's go that way. This is funny because it's literally like actually it is verbatim, like the exact same listing as Game of the Year.
Like with the exception of one missing game on there, but yeah.
Oh yeah, you're right. Right, and that would have been Resident Evil 4.
So all right, this is what we'll do. We'll talk about the title of this award, and we'll give you what their description says, and then we'll vote all three together. How's that sound?
Cool.
All right. So for the first award is Best Game Direction, awarded for outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction and design. Your nominees are Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Marvel Spider-Man 2, Super Mario Brothers Wonder, and The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom.
I mean, I'll be honest, first and foremost, I've only like really played one of these like games here, and I also would be biased because of like what the process is for this game as far as like how you go forward with the game. And I'll just tell you right now, mine is like Tears of the Kingdom because it requires like a certain bit of creativity in order for you to progress forward or, you know, address certain like puzzles like within like the game. So that's just like my thing about that. It's probably
Mark, what do you think? Mark, what do you think before I say anything?
What's the award again?
The award is Best Game Direction, awarded for outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction and design. It's Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Marvel Spider-Man 2, Mario Wonder, and Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom.
I would give it to Baldur's Gate.
Ooh, okay.
For game, mind you, for game directions, what you're asking, why?
I would just say mainly because of how many different choices you have and how many different outcomes there are and how many absolute. It's just like the stuff you can do in the game is like it's just a ton.
That's fair.
Okay. So I know that. So this is gonna be fun. This is gonna be a fun.
It's also like one of the only ones I've played on there. So
Fair enough, too.
It's gonna be a very fun segment because I think we all, like I said, this is why when we do our game of the year, like we always do this, like it's the games we played because we are all very different in what we play and what we enjoy. And so
I also just wasn't able to pick up much this year.
Yeah, like well, there's that, and there's a ton of games this year. It wasn't like this is one of the hardest years for me to make a top 10 for that podcast whenever we do that, mind you, because it's tough. Like it's tough. There's a lot of stuff I want to put on there, and there's gonna be stuff that I'm gonna have to put
just
in the
honorable mentions or just like
honorable mentions.
Yeah.
Yep. But for me, when I read the description of the award, right? Awarded for outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction and design, it only comes down to 2 games. It comes down to Baldur's Gate 3 and Tears of the Kingdom. My thing is, yes, Mark, Baldur's Gate 3 is awesome in the way it takes its direction, including like all of these different endings, all these scenarios you can do. It's like playing literally D&D. My problem is that it's not the first game to ever do it. Right? Like it is the first game to do it well, mind you, but it's probably not like the most unique idea. I think my vote goes to Tears of the Kingdom, not for biasm. My thing is, I think Tears of the Kingdom has that thing where you have to be, it's like Justin said, you have to be creative in the way you actually progress in that game. You can't just immediately think you can go and do that. Like you can't do that objective immediately. You have to actually think about, well, if I have this resources, how can I use this? Unlike Breath of the Wild, where it's like, yep, I can go there. I can see that mountain. I can go there. I think it's great. In Tears of the Kingdom, it's how do I get to that mountain? How can I figure it out? And the whole game is based around this idea of just being able to just figure it out. Like it's a puzzle. The whole game, from beginning to end, is just a puzzle. So in that regard, I feel like I'd give it to Tears of the Kingdom as well. But Baldur's Gate 3 is really close for that.
I think also Mario Brothers Wonder like deserves some like, well, actually all of them do kind of deserve like a bit of shout out here and there.
They all do.
Yeah. I was actually interested in your decision, Phil, because I thought it would be Mario Brothers Wonder, considering like it's a game that was able to just cook for such a long time. Same with Tears of the Kingdom, but like as far as like the art style and everything changed. Everything changed about it because they had to.
Well, when we're talking about best game direction here, right? Mario Wonder does do really good in that department as well. It pushes 2D platformers further than it's ever gone before. The 2D platforming, this is the crown example of how to do a 2D platformer now, right? Like this Mario is still the king of innovating that specific genre, right? Taking the Wonder Seed idea, right? Where it throws everything you know about Mario on its head, having to actually genre flip sometimes, like having to do top-down Zelda things or auto running instead of it being like a normal platformer. It throws so many creative ideas that all stick to landing. Everything is fun in that game. There's not a single thing where I said, "Oh, this is gross." No. Every idea that game throws is fun. I just think Zelda is the one that really pushes your limit, like your mental limit, and actually has to like make you think. Granted, Baldur's Gate does too. Baldur's Gate is definitely a thinking game. You know, like Baldur's Gate is that, man, if I make this choice now, it's going to affect this entire playthrough. How can I approach this? I just think Zelda is, I don't want to say it's the more creative one. That's not true. I think direction, it's in the actual like description, right? In-game direction and design. And I think design-wise, Zelda definitely takes it.
All right. Should we go on and move on to the next category?
I'm pushing vote. Yeah, Mark.
Yep, you're good.
You're very quiet. I'm sorry if I like trampled all over it.
No, you're fine.
I do respect that opinion though. Baldur's Gate 3 has some really cool ideas.
And you can fuck a bear.
Yeah, you know what? You can't fucking better than Zelda. I'm gonna pick Baldur's Gate 3.
Hey, wait.
Well, sorry, everything I just got thrown out the window because I forgot you can fuck things in Baldur's Gate. And there's
Not
my
only
F
that,
for the day.
there's
Yeah.
also
That's two.
fully modeled genitalia.
That's fair. Yeah, that's 2, but it's Baldur's Gate, so I can't say not.
I mean, yeah, because it's actually in the game.
It's actually in the game. I don't know what you want me to tell you.
That was like one of the biggest headlines that first came out when the game was like, "You can fuck a bear."
Yep. Mark's
That's
at
smart,
like 3.
Yeah, you're right.
But anyways, yeah, my vote's going to Zelda, but I do think for sure Baldur's Gate is like a close second in that regard, in that department.
Arguably the biggest contender of the entire awards.
Mm-hmm. We'll definitely get into those categories as well. That's in there. And
all right,
E.
Best narrative. I'm loading it up for outstanding storytelling and narrative development in a game. Your nominees are Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Cyberpunk 2077, Phantom Liberty, Final Fantasy 16, and Marvel's Spider-Man 2. I feel like this is the cleanest win because it's Baldur's Gate.
It's probably Baldur's Gate. I'm not gonna lie.
I haven't played 16, so I couldn't make the argument if I thought it was 16 if I haven't played it. But I would say the one I have played that has a ton of story to it is Baldur's Gate.
I think 16 story is fascinating. I think it's an interesting way to tell a Final Fantasy story, especially because it's one that pushes like that mature tone. It's a lot of political things in that game. It's a lot of like war. It's very classic in the style of Final Fantasy. Honestly, it's really not like any of the modern ones like 7 or 8 or 9. Like it doesn't go that far. It goes more like kind of like Final Fantasy 2, like where it's a war and people are dying and there's politics involved and all these other things.
Do you think it has something to do with the setting?
Yeah, and it's done in such a mature way. I think it's a good choice. Baldur's Gate 3, you literally write the narrative.
You decide it.
Yeah. It's like there's this one looming objective. Yeah, but it's you decide how you're going to do it. Like it is like playing a D&D game in real life. Like you're literally designing this narrative as you're going along. And in that regard, I don't think any of these games compare. I think it's Baldur's Gate if we're giving best narrative.
That's tough. I kind of want to like see a little bit more about Alan Wake, considering the fact that it's a more recent game that came out, and there's a lot of hype behind it as well. So it makes you wonder, like, exactly how does it? I mean, obviously, it's kind of a story within a story because of just how like Alan Wake is as a character and what he does. And I
want to play Alan Wake, dude.
Yeah,
I want to play so bad.
So I'm really curious as to how they like took the narrative from the previous game. Or like certain aspects of it and just enhance it or make it new. But Baldur's Gate, yeah, I totally agree.
I love Alan Wake 1, so I'm like, man, and this is a whole different genre. It's not even the same kind of game.
Right.
Yeah, it's more like Resident Evil survival horror style game, and that sounds so damn cool. But like, I don't know. I do want to play Alan Wake 2, but I think my vote's going to Baldur's Gate 3 for this one.
I think I'll do the same thing too. As much as I like 16.
But Mark, what was your vote?
No, it's probably Baldur's.
Okay.
All right. 3 for 3.
That one's a clean win. You know?
The Baldur's sweep.
The Baldur's sweep for that one. Best art direction.
Oh, no.
For outstanding creative and or technical achievement in artistic design and animation. Your nominees are Alan Wake 2, Hi-Fi Rush, Lies of P, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom.
I feel like Hi-Fi Rush.
I'm feeling Hi-Fi Rush as well. It's so tough.
That's tough.
I also would think about like Mario Bros. Wonder as well. And if Anaya was here, the Ghost of Anaya would vote for Lies of P.
Yeah, the Ghost of Anaya, like he's gone.
I mean, is he here?
Lies of P is a very interesting take on the story of Pinocchio, but I feel like in terms of just like what I think had the best art and was like an interesting direction for it, I feel like it's just Hi-Fi Rush.
You see, I'm between Hi-Fi Rush and Mario Wonder on this. I don't think it's Zelda because Zelda's literally just Breath of the Wild in terms of art.
That's how I feel.
Yeah, like it's nothing new. Alan Wake 2 though has some cool looking scenes though.
Yeah.
It's very heavy in its dark tone. And like the nightmare scenes are like crazy in that game from what I like kind of briefly seen. And I actually haven't seen enough of Liza P to make that decision on my front.
Mm-hmm.
So Hi-Fi Rush or Mario Wonder is where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
And I played both and I love both.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, Hi-Fi Rush is my favorite Xbox game this year. What is the category? Best art direction?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Ooh.
You know, it's tough for me. I honestly would say, like, if Hi-Fi Rush wasn't here, then I would say Mario Brothers Wonder, because it's just like it's brand new looking. But Hi-Fi Rush is like really from the ground up, just like completely different. Considering, like, what was it? The devs previously made
They only made what was it? The Evil
Ghostwire?
Within 1,
Or
Evil
oh
Within
no, sorry,
2, and Ghostwire. Yeah.
That's a
So
completely different style for them.
yeah, everything was so like grim but like Hi-Fi Rush, nah, it's like
Hilarious.
yeah, it's really just drawn up like, you know, a comic book, and the way that they present it in the game, beat for beat, literally, just keeps your eyes like wide open as far as like what do you expect, because everything's just on rhythm, and that's the whole premise of the game.
I'm
So-
sure our votes really don't matter as much. But because
Yeah.
I would for this category, I wouldn't be mad if either Hi-Fi Rush won or Mario Brothers Wonder won. Those two deserve best art. It's just, man, personally, what do I think has the like? What is the best art? That's
It's really yeah.
tough because Mario Wonder does exactly what in a Mario game they always before New Super Mario Brothers they always push the console's limits in terms of art. Right? Like you look at Super Mario Brother or Super Mario World, and it's like it looks basic, but like it looks like a cartoon on your Super Nintendo. It doesn't look like a normal sprite-based game. Yeah, if I'm gonna give it to Hi-Fi Rush. I think Mario Wonder does do a lot for the series, right? Like artistically, especially during the Wonder scenes.
That's true.
But yeah, Hi-Fi Rush, yeah. That whole game is literally just art.
Like you say, it is completely animated.
Yeah.
Exactly, like from beginning to end. So yeah, I'm gonna give it to Hi-Fi Rush.
It's really tough though. So just one of the tougher ones.
That one's hard.
So's the next one, but you know.
Oh my god, yeah, this next one
Here.
is rough.
Here, let me do this one.
Go for it.
So we're looking here at best score in music for outstanding music, inclusive of score, original song, and or licensed soundtrack. We got Alan Wake 2, composed by what was it, Petri Alanko? Baldur's Gate 3, composer is Borislav Slavov. We have Final Fantasy 16, composer is Masayoshi Soken. Hi-Fi Rush.
F-16 is amazing.
Audio director is Suchi Kobori, and Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom, composed by Nintendo Sound Team.
All right, I'm gonna keep it real. I'm gonna keep it $1.50. You can throw Zelda out of this category right now.
Hey, wait, wait, slow down.
Oh, give me a break, dude. What, like the 10 tracks that are in the game?
I'll be 100% honest. I had to look up like the soundtrack because it's just one of those things where like a lot of stuff like in the game is just like ambient stuff, and that's just for you going from place to place.
That's the thing. Zelda for best music and score is so weird because as much as I do love the music in that game, most of it's reused from Breath of the Wild.
Fair enough. Yeah, I understand that.
I'm gonna keep it $1.50 with that. And on top of that, it's mostly ambience. Like there's melodies, they're in there.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, it's just ambience.
No, I hear you.
Hmm.
It's just tough because like there's certain tracks that are in there that are actually original that deserve like that level of praise, but they're like so far and few between. I get it. That's like I think that's the only issue that they have. Otherwise, anything as far as like score is actually really interesting as far as like what instruments do they use. But yeah, it also requires both.
Yeah. Mark, what's your decision on this real quick for best music?
Again, it's like because I haven't played Final Fantasy 16, I can't say it. Baldur's Gate has good music, but if I was to give it to anything for music, I'd probably give it again to Hi-Fi Rush.
Hi-Fi Rush is okay.
It's literally a music-based game.
It's tough. It's tough.
Obviously. But the thing is, I want you to realize what we're saying here when it comes to Hi-Fi Rush. It's the original music, none of the licensed music.
Well, I mean, the category does include and or
Audio
licensed music.
Is that what it said?
Or and or licensed soundtrack.
And or licensed soundtrack. Oh, okay.
I was like, well, that changes my mind.
Yeah, that does change a lot of things. Because then I do take hi-fi into consideration, because if you take out the licensed music, it's still a damn good time. It's just like dog, when the first boss is like 1,000 by 9 Inch Nails, I'm like, yo. Yo. What do you mean 9 Inch Nails is about to start blasting out of my speakers right now? And that isn't Quake 1. But the thing is, my vote goes to Final Fantasy 16. There are some music tracks in there that have stuck with me for a long time now. I think
I want to say Final Fantasy 16, but I haven't played Final Fantasy 16.
The Roselia theme, that beautiful little piano intro. Oh my god, dude. Yeah, it's going to 16. That's my vote.
Gotcha. And you know what?
Not at all mad at that.
I've spent like the early bits of just like this nominee defending Tears of the Kingdom, but 100% I'm going to Final Fantasy 16 because I've never had a time where like I listened to every new track and I was like, whoa, oh my god.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't something that was just like something that would just drown out in the background. I mean, I guess it would naturally, like as you like play through the game and you're so used to the themes, but when you walk in there and you're so shocked as to what you hear, even if it's just like some totally relaxed, like chilled back like vibes, it sounds like mystifying in a weird way.
Literally me hearing the DMC soundtracks and the Sonic Frontiers soundtracks, I'm just like, whoa.
But yeah, and then imagine hearing that and always being like that every single time you walk into a new track. You're like, what?
The Metal Gear Rising soundtrack, it's pretty much what it is.
Yeah, actually, you know what? Titan's theme. Like, if you fight Titan, you know exactly how that vibe is.
Yeah, Titan's theme is really good. There's also the option. There's a specific boss theme. It's kind of like a normal boss theme, but it's not the main one. There's like a secondary one. That theme, it's the one where it's used for a couple fights, but it's the one that goes.
Oh yeah, it's usually for like the special hunts, especially.
Yeah,
you get used to it a lot.
That one is. It's used for. Oh, you know what? It is the main big boss fight themes. I'm sorry. With the big old like choir in the background, that one gets me so much, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's going to Final Fantasy 16. I'm sorry.
Yeah, actually, I'm sorry, not sorry.
Yeah,
it just deserves it.
Your next category is best audio design, recognizing the best in-game audio and sound design. Your nominees are Alan Wake 2, Dead Space, Hi-Fi Rush, Marvel Spider-Man 2, and Resident Evil 4.
Ooh.
That is tough because I think if the fact that there are 3 survival horror games on here makes sense.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, which one managed to make your asshole squeak the tightest?
It's not just that. It's to be a good horror game, sound design is so important.
Well, yes, because you hear that sound and your asshole goes.
Yes, Mark.
Thank you, Mark.
100%. So for like,
I wish I could say something about Alan Wake 2. That's my thing.
I wish I could too. I really wish I could.
Alan Wake 2 is on here for so many things, and I've heard next to nothing about the game until now.
Dude,
It's weird.
I heard it was incredible.
See,
like,
I'm with Mark in the sense I haven't heard anything.
Nothing about it. It's like, and all of a sudden, it did all these awards. I was like, when was this good?
Alan Wake 2? Dude, Alan Wake in general, like the original is like such a classic.
I know it is, and I'm like, where was this? Literally, there was no one talking about it now, but now that it's at the awards, everyone's like, Alan Wake 2, Alan Wake 2, Alan Wake 2.
You know what this feels like? It feels like when Control was nominated.
Yes, it was. Because it's really good.
Where?
But no one said a thing about it unless you're listening to like the appropriate like places.
Now, granted, what that makes me want to do is pick it up now, but
right,
that's what I did with Control. But
yeah, because I have a friend who loves Control, but like at the time, like he was the one that I heard it from, and I had not seen anyone else being like, "Oh my god, Control!"
Yeah, I think Anaya and I were joking a lot during that time, and we were like, "What the hell is Control? Are we missing out on something?" Like,
that's why I see Alan Wake 2. I was like, I remember hearing it being announced, but after that, literally nothing about it.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate against the horror games though.
Mm-hmm.
Hi-Fi Rush literally needs audio design to make it work.
Ready to say,
really good.
Legit
audio design
functions completely off of audio design.
You legitimately like you need the audio cues. You need everything in motion to play that game because it's a rhythm game at heart. It might be a Devil May Cry.
There is no game.
Yeah, it might be a Devil May Cry style action game, but it is a rhythm game to the T, like to a T. Like you need audio design in that game. And so personally, my vote's going to Hi-Fi Rush for that one.
No, that makes sense.
Same here,
I see
actually.
the same thing, really. Hi-Fi Rush, because like you said, that's the foundation of the game.
Like I appreciate the fact that the horror games got nominated here because you do need like good audio design for those games. Those games basically live or die off audio design.
Right. Everyone knows sound plays a huge role in games that are trying to make you afraid.
Yeah. I do want to give some credit before we vote for Hi-Fi Rush. I do want to give credit to Spider-Man 2. Because Spider-Man 2 does have a lot of cool audio. It's the way you swing. It's especially, I know Justin, you kind of heard it when you were watching me play for a little bit. The DualSense.
Oh yeah.
How it has those sound effects coming out of some of those like mechanics.
Yeah, it's really cool actually.
That's really cool. It makes you feel like when I'm like propelling down like certain like ropes and stuff, you can hear it on the DualSense, and it's really cool in that regard.
I would say you're forgetting about that moment we scratched the DJ just right.
Oh my god, I forgot the Mysterium. Yeah.
You mean DJ Hero 3?
Yeah, DJ Hero 3, dude. Oh my god. Yeah, I'm just gonna go with Hi-Fi Rush. All right, it's going to Hi-Fi Rush.
Okay.
Best performance.
Ooh.
Awarded to an individual for voice-over acting, motion, and or performance capture.
Did someone say motion?
Ayo. Your nominees are Ben Starr for Final Fantasy 16 as Clive Rossfield.
All right.
Cameron Monaghan. Wow, I can't say his name. Monaghan? Yeah, Cameron Monaghan from Star Wars Jedi Survivor.
Fair enough.
I forgot the main character's name. Oh, it's Cal, no?
It's Cal Kestis. Cal Kestis.
Yeah. Idris Elba for Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty as Knuckles.
Get the hell out of here.
I didn't get to play it. I'm sorry.
I've heard he's really good, though.
Yeah, I heard he was really good. Melanie LeBird for Alan Wake 2. You want to know the craziest thing? How's it called Alan Wake 2, but she got nominated and not the actor who plays Alan Wake?
Because maybe his performance just wasn't as good.
I think it's something to do with the story, and like Alan Wake actually barely has any role in the game, but yes.
I think he just sticks with his writing.
Literally a namesake.
Neil Newborn for Baldur's Gate 3 as Aster.
Oh, him.
Oh. Yeah, it's okay.
The white-haired elf asshole.
Yep. And Yuri Lowenthal as Peter Parker in Marvel Spider-Man 2.
Gotcha. That's tough. This is a tough one. Well,
Is it?
maybe for some. I already have my particular pick, but
I heard that Melanie does a great job in Alan Wake 2. I feel like I need to play. I really need to sit down and play that game.
Mhm.
It's just no physical copy means I didn't buy it.
Yeah.
Now,
Although you did hear about the physical copies later on.
I hope
my
so.
my three that I would
well,
immediately think of picking would
yeah.
would be the first three, because I think all of because I'd love to vote for Final Fantasy 16. I just haven't played it, but from what I've seen, it looks like the guy who does Clive did a really good job.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have played Survivor, and the actor actually did do an incredible job with his role as Cal. He always has done. Cal's a great character. And then, of course, with Idris Elba, he's a great actor. And I think that from what I've heard, I think he did an incredible job for Phantom Liberty.
Hold on, let's put some respect on Yuri for a minute because his Peter in Spider-Man 2 is really good.
That's also fair too. He's been through it.
Yeah. This is a Peter Parker that's, already lost Aunt May. I don't want to go into too much spoilers, so I won't go into that front,
Okay.
but let's just say he's been through the ringer, and it's like that's how I feel Peter would sound like if he was going through all that. So I don't want to put I gotta give props for my man Yuri, but I think my vote's going to Ben Starr for Final Fantasy 16.
I think I share the same argument. I've heard a lot of Yuri's lines in both 1 and quite a bit in 2 as well.
I have to still play Star Wars Jedi Survivor, and which is why I didn't even cross my mind. So I'm glad Mark is here to let me know.
Get
He did a fantastic job.
Get you educated.
Yep.
I will give it to Ben though, because there's a lot of obviously the weird thing with Clive is the fact that when it's not story related stuff, he has a pretty I don't want to say a monotonic tone to him, but it kind of is like that. But then when it comes to him interacting with specific people, a lot of people that he really 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 cares about, it changes, and there's certain line deliveries during the course of the story that really just sell you to him. He's also done a lot of meme stuff. That's why it's he has a lot of say power.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to give it to Final Fantasy 16.
I gotta give it to Ben. Although Yuri's right up there too, so it's tough. That's a really tough one.
Okay, innovation and accessibility. Recognizing software and or hardware that is pushing the medium forward by adding features, technology, and content to help games be played and enjoyed by an even wider audience. Your nominees are Diablo 4, Forza Motorsport, Hi-Fi Rush, Marvel Spider-Man 2, Mortal Kombat 1, and Street Fighter 6.
I got no fucking clue about any of about the accessibility options between any of these.
Well,
I'm gonna be honest, same here.
There's your first effort.
In Street Fighter 6, you can play the game blindfolded.
I was gonna make that same argument. I was like, listen, I was gonna say in my case, Hi-Fi Rush is a rhythm-based game. How in the world do you make this accessible to a lot of people who may not be able to do that? And it's well, first of all, I don't even know the accessibility options, but if it's playable like that, then it's great.
Not able to do that, do you mean deaf?
Well, not just a myriad of things, all over the spectrum, whether
having
you're not
a sense of rhythm.
Yeah, whether you hear it or you even see the rhythm, because there's also bits
having a sense of, you can learn to have a sense of rhythm. It's not something that you necessarily just never have. It's something you can learn.
Sure.
Yeah, that what I'm trying to say is how does Hi-Fi Rush convey that? And I don't know all the accessibility options.
What I'm wondering. I'm what do you mean exactly? Because normally it's they just make it so you can play the game even if say you have your hand, you might have a problem with your hands, you might have a problem with your eyes, ears, something like that.
Yeah, so the fact that it's nominated here says a lot about it. So I'm okay, that's telling. I know that Marvel Spider-Man 2 does a lot of approaches towards that type of community. I've only seen in one instance, but I'm not sure about other things like the visuals and stuff like that. Just as you're swinging around.
I do want to make another case for Street Fighter 6. Okay. The fact that the FGC has adopted modern controls as like actual tournament based like level play on top of classic controls, it just means that more people can actually learn to play the game
No,
how they ever
that's true.
choose.
I didn't think about that in terms of accessibility because I thought about it in terms of like if someone has like issues, but you're thinking about more in terms of just in general accessibility. That's different then.
Well, Street Fighter 6 has 3 modes of play, right? You have the classic traditional 6-button setup. You know, your heavy, your top 3 punch, your heavy punch, your 3 heavies and your 3 kicks, right? Like they're all laid out. But there was also modern controls, which kind of mimics like Marvel vs. Capcom 3 in the fact that there's a light, medium, heavy attack in general, and then there's a special button for like Smash Brothers style, you know, up, smash, down, yeah. And then there's just the 1-button move combos for the very low beginners, you know.
Oh, I see.
But I don't look at it like that. I look, scratch the tournament idea. I look at it as anybody can play Street Fighter 6 and have fun. It's essentially it's tailor-made to your own unique style. And I feel like that's why I want to give the vote to Street Fighter 6. Granted, I have not played Mortal Kombat 1, so I don't know if those same arguments can be made for Mortal Kombat 1.
Yeah,
but
I'm
I
curious
haven't
about that too.
I don't know what Mark said, but
sorry, Mark. We're in the toilet.
Sorry. I said I just know that Mortal Kombat 1's good. That's about it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
But I think it's going to Street Fighter 6 for the fact that it's the most inviting fighting game right now to fighting game community.
I would actually agree with that too. The fact that someone really just like went up there and won a fight blindfold, that was the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Using the accessibilities, like using the different options and just audio cues. Yeah, he played and won blindfolded. That was crazy.
Oh my god.
So yeah, it's going to Street Fighter. Let's see. Games for impact. For a thought-provoking game with a pro-social meaning or message.
Basically, like this shit deep.
No. Actually, Mark, no, that was actually very incorrect.
You're welcome.
Anyways, your nominees are A Space for the Unbound, Chance of Senar, Goodbye Volcano High, Chia. Is it pronounced Chia? I don't
know. Sorry. Continue.
Terra Nil and Venba. So I only know about 3 of these games.
Kind of the same, yeah.
I know about A Space for the Unbound, I know about Chia, and I know about Venba. Now, the category is games for impact, right? For a thought-provoking game with a pro-social media message. Essentially, it's what does the game actually convey the message it's trying to provide? How well does that actually provide, and how impactful is that message to you? Now, I'll be honest, I haven't played any of the games. I just know of them.
You're saying I don't know anything about these games personally?
I've been wanting to play A Space for the Unbound. I've been wanting to play the Chia, and I've been wanting to play Venba.
I think I may have heard of Space of the Unbound. That's about it.
I'm gonna keep it real with you. I wrote off Goodbye Volcano High because the furry art style is turning me off. But
I understand.
It's meant to turn you on.
No,
Mark. Could get in trouble.
From what I heard, A Space for the Unbound is like incredibly impactful. Like that game has a really crazy story.
Really now.
So that's probably the one I'd vote for. But then again, I heard Tachia has a really interesting story too. Venba is just like about Venba's thing is like it's about an Indian family cooking, and then they're telling their stories through their food. So there's that. I remember seeing it on the Nintendo Indie Direct.
Yeah, I remember that too.
I'm gonna vote for A Space for the Unbound.
I'm also seconding that one. That's been like the most interesting thing that I've seen announced, but I never really got around to it, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm hoping it gets a physical copy. I think it has one in Asia, but not in America yet.
Oh, let me just do the vote right there. All right.
Your next category, best ongoing.
Oh boy. You already know.
Awarded
This one should be interesting.
awarded to a game for outstanding development of ongoing content that evolves the player experience over time. Your nominees are Apex Legends, Cyberpunk 2077,
Cyberpunk 2077.
Final Fantasy 14,
Very strong.
Fortnite,
Fortnite's
Very
and
also very
strong.
Genshin
strong.
Impact.
Genshin Impact also very strong. This is tough.
I
feel
think
like-
I think we could scratch Apex now, right? Like we don't have to put that into consideration.
I would, yeah,
Compared to the rest of these.
I think so.
I was gonna say, no, it's definitely ongoing. But if you don't want to include it, that's up to you.
I just think if you look at the other four this year, right? We're voting for 2023. I'm thinking about how I look at this award is what have they done for these games this year?
Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, Apex didn't do much this year. So we're just gonna close the book on that one.
Yeah, I never really
Now-
heard too much about Apex this time around, so closing that.
This is tough. Because the other four have been doing stellar in terms of updates and content,
Mm-hmm.
especially with the fact that Phantom Liberty, no, scratch that. Cyberpunk 2.0,
That's also like their only update they're gonna get though.
fair, but it did come out this year, so it is in this category.
Yeah, but I wouldn't count that as ongoing
Okay.
because they've stated before that Phantom Liberty was gonna be their last DLC unless they change their mind.
You know, I second that. I thought about it and I was like, you're right. Because really,
Well, yes, it did an amazing job for Cyberpunk. Like Cyberpunk 2.0 is great. However, it's just the terminology of ongoing where I was like, but would this really count as ongoing?
no, you're right. So then it's between 14, Fortnite, and Genshin.
Hmm.
Big fan bases amongst all three, but I feel oh man, it's hard to pick really.
Yeah.
That's tough. Fortnite is now back at the OG map, correct?
It is. And I
Yep.
was gonna say that's the biggest argument I'd have is the fact that like they're going back to the old map.
And it's gotten even more popular than ever.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All the craziest crossovers you can think of in that game.
True.
But I'd also like argue on Genshin's side. I don't know if I'd vote for Genshin in this one, but they do because of how it's built up in the sense that there's a whole overarching story that they can like just release in like bursts here and there.
True.
And you know, a lot of people have been talking about like Fontaine
And a very loyal fan base.
And then 14. Well, I'm sure. I mean, they announced 14's like Dawn Trail, but as far as
14
like actual content
14
itself,
is
I'm not sure.
the 14 community is massive.
And the 14 community also like they're like considered one of the most inviting communities, period. You know,
They
like
do their dailies every single day, just about.
yep.
Crazy.
So
It's
it's tough. I think I'm between 14 and Fortnite for sure.
I could see a lot of arguments for 14 deserving it.
Me too.
Are you giving it to Fortnite?
Fortnite, I mean, I could see arguments for all three. It's very hard to decide.
Well, what are you deciding, Mark? This is for you.
This is for you.
For me?
For
Yeah.
me?
Happy birthday, homie. I love that movie. I love that movie.
I mean, for me personally, why is this so hard?
This is a kind of a difficult one.
I
Man,
I
dude.
kind of want to say Fortnite. I typically would say Final Fantasy, but Justin, you're right. This year there wasn't much in terms of like big content updates, and you know what I mean. Like Dawn Trail's next year. The Xbox version of this game is next year.
Right. So
So I-
in the grand scheme of like outstanding development and ongoing content, right now
I
it's kind of That's tough.
Did Fortnite get the big old engine update this year or last year?
Oh, good question.
I can't
I
remember.
can't
actually.
remember.
I think it was last year,
last
so I
year.
can't count that. But this year they had the craziest crossovers, right? Like all of the
Yeah, that's true.
yeah, all the anime crossovers.
Anime eating it right now.
Yeah. The fact that they just had their biggest number of players with the OG update.
They know what they're doing. You know what? I think I will vote for Fortnite on this one. Craziest thing I'd ever say.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
all right, you got me, Fortnite.
I think I might want to put it in Fortnite as well. But Mark, what do you think?
Fortnite.
Fortnite.
All right.
Let's go,
Fortnite
Fortnite.
it is. Hey, you know what, Mark? That's good. You played a lot of Fortnite this year, huh?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
Especially I finally got the Goku skin, and I was like, all right.
Yeah, there we go.
All right. Your next award is Best Community Support. Recognizing a game for outstanding community support, transparency, and responsiveness, inclusive of social media activity and game update and patches.
Oh.
Your nominees are Baldur's Gate 3, Cyberpunk 2077, Destiny 2. It definitely ain't that one. Final Fantasy 14. Final Fantasy 14 and No Man's Sky.
I will
think
say
it's,
this: the Destiny community is pretty passionate.
but that doesn't mean they were given good support this year.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. However, No Man's Sky is a very strong contender.
Always
That's
is.
a strong contender.
Always has
I
been.
personally think it's between Baldur's Gate and Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
When I'm looking at this, right? Outstanding community support, transparency, and responsiveness. I mean, Larian Studios has been on it about trying to like be just like the most transparent studio about their game when it comes to Baldur's Gate 3. Like making sure everybody knows what updates are coming out. Hey, there is an Xbox version. We promise we're just working on it. You know what I mean? Like, not a lot of companies would tell you outright.
Yeah, this is a tough one for me. And you know what? I'm gonna give it to Baldur's Gate 3 because there is a physical copy coming up.
Yeah, they listened. They heard us.
I was like, geez, dude. All right. I give.
And did you see the physical copy, Mark? It's on 3 discs on Series X.
That's so 3 discs. Bro.
It's 2 discs on PS5, 3 discs on Series X.
That's insane.
That's crazy. I kind of
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. I'm like, yeah, I kind of
want that 3 disc, dog. I feel like I'm on 360 all over again.
You said that, and my main sponge just. Oh.
Yeah, dog. Do you remember when LA Noire shipped on 5 discs, bro? That was crazy.
Oh yeah, you're right. It wasn't just like 3. It was like.
I'm sorry.
You know, did you never play LA Noire back in the day?
Nope.
The game shipped on 5 discs for Xbox.
Ow.
I don't know. It was 1 disc for PS3, but it was 5 discs for Xbox.
Why was it 5?
That game was crazy. 1, Cole was off hinge, and 2, there was just like 5 discs. You got this slot in.
I don't know. I believe it's because they were using HD DVD as their format, so it wasn't Blu-ray.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So it wasn't able to hold as much storage. But if you want me to give you a better example, Final Fantasy 13 shipped on 1 disc on that PS3, 3 discs on Xbox.
As Gary says, I've never heard of a game coming in more than 2 discs personally.
Really?
No.
Not even over the years?
No, like I remember Mass Effect 2 was 2 discs. I remember that.
There's a couple RPGs on Xbox 360 were in 3 discs. I'm trying to remember what the other one.
Yeah, 13's one of them, obviously.
I believe it's Blue Dragon.
It's probably because I didn't play a lot of RPGs on the Xbox 360.
Fair enough.
Yeah, man, that's the best Xbox console to have turn-based RPGs.
I do have to play Blue Dragon someday.
It's backwards.
I know it is.
It's always waiting.
And I'm sure it looks better with the auto upscaling on the Xbox.
Yeah, it looks really cool on my Series X. That and Lost Odyssey, those are the best ones you should play.
Lost Odyssey is one that a lot of people said deserves to come back.
Man, Lost Odyssey is fantastic, but I kind of want to give it to Baldur's Gate 3 as well. They listen, man. They give me. Hey, look, they're giving me a physical copy. That's community support. Thank you.
Listen, if you just roll the 10, then it counts as a vote.
Yeah.
Roll a d20.
Oh, we got a spicy one. So we got best independent game
Oh,
for outstanding creative and technical achievement in a game made outside the traditional publisher system.
I know what you mean. But continue.
Yeah, we got a spicy one here. We got Cocoon,
Cocoon.
Dave the Diver, Dredge, Sea of Stars, and Viewfinder. First of all, this is finally 1 year of indie games that I have heard of all these games. So I was like, wow, these are some good picks. I think the one I know the least amount of is Dredge, but I know of the game.
Right.
I heard, you know what? I got to turn on my Xbox. I got to download Cocoon. It's on Game Pass.
Cool.
I heard Cocoon is fantastic. It's from the guy who created Limbo and Inside.
Okay. All right, you got me.
So it's one of those games.
There's some prestige there, actually.
Yeah, so I kind of want to try that one, Cocoon. The spicy pick here is Dave the Diver, from what I'm hearing.
Right.
I heard Dave the Diver is actually pretty good.
It's not the fact that it's good, Mark.
Yeah, it's actually something about like the definition of an independent game.
Yeah, so I guess the company Mint Rocket is actually owned by Nexon. So is it really an indie game when it's being funded by a AAA studio?
It's tough. Because like certainly there's the developers like behind the game, sure, but there's also like the backing of it. That's like,
I mean, if they didn't have a ton of people working on it, it was a small team, I'd say, yeah, it's still count it.
See, that's one of the arguments we made. But the other argument is like a lot of these indie games had to kickstart their things, like Sea of Stars.
I mean, maybe they just got lucky and they managed to find an investor. I don't know if that should disqualify you.
No, but there's a lot of people that are saying Dave the Diver definitely shouldn't be on here. Like,
I mean, that's just like getting mad at someone because how dare you be good at finding an investment?
Yeah. I'm personally between Cocoon and Sea of Stars when it comes to this.
I'm just going with Sea of Stars.
But I'm gonna go with Sea of Stars because the game is literally a sequel to Chrono Trigger at this point, and
yeah,
if Square doesn't make another Chrono Trigger, this is the best we're gonna get.
Fair enough.
But Mark, which one would you pick?
Which one would I pick? I haven't really played any of these, so I don't really know.
That's fair.
I'm kind of curious what
you don't have to pick one, mind you. I was just asking.
Trust me, there's a lot of games I wanted to play this year that I was just like, I can't afford it.
Yeah, because Dave the Diver is a game that looks cool. I want to play it. But,
me too. I've seen that.
But Sea of Stars, man.
Yeah, there was a lot.
I've heard Sea of Stars was exceptionally good.
Yeah, dude, it's good. Yeah. It's on Game Pass, so I was playing it like that. But yeah.
Ah, fair. Okay. Yeah, and there's going to be a physical copy for that one later.
So next year, I'm getting that dank Switch version. You already know.
They got that cool like cover for it too.
Oh yeah, I'm going with Sea of Stars.
Yeah.
All right.
Same.
Best debut indie game.
Oh, they actually have something separate from this. Interesting.
Yeah, for the best debut game created by a new independent studio. This is their first game ever made through the studio.
Oh, okay.
Cocoon, Dredge, Pizza Tower, Venba, and Viewfinder. It's going to Pizza Tower for me.
So, Pizza Tower is relatively new to me. I've never seen any gameplay for
it.
But I've heard that soundtrack. It's kind of busting.
It's a game in the style of Wario Land.
Oh.
Essentially, it's a person.
Oh, is it that one? Yeah.
Yeah. It's not Anton Blast.
Oh, maybe. Okay, maybe I was wrong.
But this is more like if you took Wario Land, made it a speedrunner like style game, and it's just, I'm just gonna just do it. It's batshit crazy.
Okay.
That game is so good. I hope it gets a console port because man, I would buy it in a heartbeat. physical or not. That's how good that game is.
Ooh. All right.
I want to give it to Pizza Tower. That game is so crazy cool looking. It's also just like 90s like cartoon where like everything's raunchy, but it's still kid friendly. Like
That's funny. Okay. I was actually gonna I didn't really have much of a like input on this one. I think I would just go with Dredge because on the surface of things, like it does kind of look like, oh, you just like do some like going around like in your ship, but like there's horror elements to it that I heard about later. I was like, how does that? And I actually saw. I was like, oh, I see.
mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I just wanted to go for that one.
Mark, have you what would you give it to any of these?
If you could.
Again, this is a category that I don't think I had much input on.
Super Mario Bros. 2,
okay.
Game of the Year. Soup.
All right. Soup. So what are we doing? Are we just gonna put our own votes in for separate ones in?
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, vote for what you want to vote for.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. We're just
but for the sake of conversation, we should agree on one as the Tanuki Media rank, right?
Oh, it's
well, no, because that would require Anaya.
Anaya, and his ass is not even here. Poor Anaya, though. I feel for him.
We'll come around to Anaya later.
Yeah, true, 100%.
Yeah. Where even is Anaya?
Doing Anaya things.
He's bumming around.
Yeah,
I'm just joking.
Mood.
He's probably yeah, the mood.
But yeah, I'm gonna give it to Pizza Tower.
Pizza time. That's so wild. How did we?
Pizza time.
Pizza Planet.
Pizza Planet.
Best mobile
Pizza
game.
La.
Oh yeah, it's Mailman.
It's best mobile game for the best game playable on a mobile device. Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis, Hello Kitty Island Adventure. is something I never thought I'd say.
Good to do.
Honkai Star Rail, Monster Hunter Now, and Terra Nil.
My God. So,
if I'm being honest, it's probably going to go to Honkai Star Rail with how much traction that game is getting.
Yeah, I was gonna throw in a joke here, but I kind of agree. It's got to be a Honkai Star Rail because because it's like it's turn based, and not only that, they also have the funding behind Hoyoverse to make things look super clean in presentation. Like this is like that genre really could just be like a top down like or isometric type of game where like you don't have to. It could be like Final Fantasy VII like Ever Crisis where it's like chibi guys and not a lot of focus on like details here and there, but. To play devil's advocate, like Ever Crisis does have like built-in models, like we can actually get into the battles and stuff like that. But I don't know. I think Honkai Star Rail like has such a backing as far as the funding, but also the community support through like the previous works.
Yep, it's gonna go to Honkai.
Pretty personally, yeah. I'm sorry, Monster Hunter.
Mark, what do you think about that?
No, I mean, I feel like that's absolutely a fair argument for Honkai. Like, Honkai was very popular. The Hoyoverse absolutely has the funding.
Yep. Best VR and AR game.
I have absolutely no input on this.
For the best game experience, playable in virtual or augmented reality, irrespective of platform.
Continue.
So it doesn't matter which platform it is. It's just all over. So you have Gran Turismo 7, Horizon, Call of the Mountain, Humanity, Resident Evil Village VR mode, which is so weird that I have to call it VR mode, and Synapse. I heard Humanity is really good. It's a game that I'm interested in playing because it is from is his name Tetsuya Mizuguchi?
Tetsuya Mitsuyoshi?
Yeah, it's the dude who created Luminous, Tetris Effect.
Oh, really?
I'm trying to remember the other. Oh, Rez. Yeah, he's big. He's a big rhythm game kind of person. And that game just looks so creative.
He got that W-Res.
Yeah. But I heard Horizon Call of the Mountain is fantastic as a VR game.
Oh, really?
So I don't know.
I don't know. I would like to just say, like, from my perspective on like VR and slash AR, I think kind of the best ones are the ones that have you feel like you have a lot of like freedom in the game and not feel like so anchored down. Something that kind of helps you.
Something they're still working on.
Yeah, it's definitely something they're still working on, and I feel like here's an example, like when Doom VR was a thing, and like that's super cool because like you're just like you're the Doom Slayer, but instead of running around, you're just kind of hopping from point to point, and I don't like
It's
that.
just kind of boing, boing,
Yeah.
boing, boing.
No. Well, technically you can change that, but
Yeah. Oh, okay. Then maybe.
yeah, you can change that in the controls, but try doing it. You'll get motion sickness.
I
Real
mean,
quick.
like
Yeah,
a game
for
that
sure.
I think, a game that I've seen that is like a really impressive for a VR game was like Blade and Sorcery.
Oh yeah.
Mm,
That's a
My
lot. That's a
favorite-
lot of fun. Yeah.
my favorite VR game is Astrobots Rescue
Oh.
Mission,
Oh. Okay.
and it's actually for the complete opposite reason of what Justin just explained. I actually love that. Super Mario 64, right? You, like Lakitu.
Mm.
I feel like I'm Lakitu.
Interesting. I can see
And
that
so-
too.
And so when I'm moving Astrobot around, or when I'm moving Astro around, I don't feel like I'm getting nauseous playing it. I feel like I'm the camera. I'm looking around and I'm going, wow, there's a secret back here. Let me just get there.
Phil is seeing it how it should be. He's seeing it from its point of view, and he's like, "I am okay."
Yeah.
You know
And
what?
I really love those kinds of games.
Uh,
Now,
mm.
but I also have Doom 3 VR, and for the same, I thought that game was really cool too. And the fact that you can play all of Doom 3 and its expansions in VR. And just in the way that you have to keep moving and like bobbing around, and oh god, there's a freaking imp coming out your way. So I don't know. I think I'm gonna just give it to Synapse because it's got what's his name in it. It's got David Hayter.
All right. No, that's valid. I would.
No.
Ooh.
On a real note,
Okay.
I think it's going to Horizon because I heard that game is really good for VR too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, like I guess the reason I'm not like for Horizon Call of the Mountain, it's just I feel like the movement's just very sluggish. Like obviously it's meant to be like a tour of like the world of Horizon and like an introduction to like to the PSVR 2. I just wish you had like a little bit more flow in your movement instead of just having to walk. I mean, sure, take your time when you're climbing things, sure, because that's just how you're gonna do it. But when you're just walking and you're just simply just always just walking and not like sprinting or anything like that. That's why I would say that like Resident Evil like Village VR might actually take it on that front. But also as far as just like limited like motion, I think Gran Turismo 7 might actually do it, but I haven't really seen like exactly how that might be. But otherwise, I get what you say was when it comes to like something like Humanity or like a game where you're just kind of in a fixed camera angle, or at least you just move very subtly and you're not like doing a first person thing. I feel like if Nintendo adopted this, Fire Emblem would definitely benefit from something like that. So
Yeah.
I'm just like, yeah, I get that perspective for sure. I'd probably give it
I
to
probably
Resident Evil.
will. Okay, I'm gonna personally give it to Horizon. Mark is gonna give it to Resident Evil 7 so that mommy can step on him.
Actually, Pikmin also was benefit greatly on that one too. But yeah,
Pikmin in VR would be crazy.
ideas, Nintendo.
Mm-hmm. All right, we're back in the categories Mark can talk about.
Oh yeah.
All
Which one are we looking at?
Best action game.
Ooh.
The best game in the action genre focused primarily on combat. Armored Core 6, Fires of Rubicon, Dead Island 2, Ghost Runner 2, Hi-Fi Rush, and Remnant 2.
Ooh, tough ones. Can I start? I'm just gonna give it to Armored Core. 100%. When you just get in there and then it just feels right into a point where it's like, I really love this, no matter how difficult it is. It's brilliant. I love Hi-Fi Rush too, but like Armored Core is different.
If we're talking best action, right?
Mm-hmm.
I haven't played Ghost Runner 2. I only know things because of Ghost Runner 1.
That's
and
fair.
Ghost Runner 1 is a fantastic action game. It's quick. It's boomer shooter, but you're actually not shooting. You only have a sword. You're trying to dodge and like try to get into the enemies without getting shot once.
Mhm.
And I thought that was really cool. Since I haven't played 2, I cannot speak on it. But Armored Core and Hi-Fi Rush, I mean, Hi-Fi Rush is an action game, right? It is literally a
Yeah.
Bayonetta / Devil May Cry style hack and slash with rhythm elements. But man, Armored Core is the definition of action game for me. Like that is, it's always been like that. Every time there's an Armored Core game, it's like this big old like you play it because it's tough. There's no difficulty options. You get through it. Like it is a FromSoft game to a T. And I feel like I'm gonna give it to Armored Core. But Mark, what do you think?
Best action game.
Armored Core 6. Oh yeah, thanks,
Whoa,
Mark.
yeah,
Thanks for
let's
joining
go
us.
with
Yeah,
the
woo!
the
Yeah,
goated vote
goated.
mark.
Clean win for Armored Core.
Clean
guys.
sweep.
Yeah.
Anyway, next one.
Yeah. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Best action adventure.
Oh.
For the best game or for the best action adventure game, combining combat with traversal and puzzle solving, I'm just gonna stop you right there and just say Zelda. But it's Alan Wake 2, Marvel Spider-Man 2, Resident Evil 4, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, and Zelda. It's Zelda.
I will say 100% there's reasons why every single one of these like show up here.
Sure.
But 100% it's Zelda. It's 100%.
When the description says combining combat with traversal and puzzle solving, I can't think of any game better than Zelda.
Mm-hmm. So I'm just gonna go ahead and throw my vote in there. Tears of the Kingdom. Let's go.
For best RPG, for the best game designed with rich player character customization and progression, including massively multiplayer experiences, Baldur's Gate 3, Final Fantasy 16, Lies of P, Sea of Stars, and Starfield. As much as I love Final Fantasy 16, I think Baldur's Gate 3 is probably the best RPG.
You know, it's interesting how Starfield, this is the only like place that Starfield kind of sits in like nominations in any of the categories.
To be fair, it is a very good RPG.
I wish I got further into it. I only stopped at a certain point, but there's definitely levels to it and like certain like trees skills. And I'm like, oh, that's super cool. I want to say though that 16, as much as I like 16, doesn't really feel as RPG as I personally would have wanted. And that's not to say like this is not a Final Fantasy game type of argument. I'm just saying like it just doesn't feel too RPG like for me enough to like it for that aspect. More of it's like the action of it is like what's really cool about it.
I think it's going to Baldur's Gate for me because that game is it like I said, it's just playing Dungeons and Dragons. It's an RPG. That's what RPGs are.
And it's tough because Sea of Stars is also there too. Ooh. But you know what? I think I would have to give it to Baldur's Gate because there's like a good level of like freedom on that. And then we already know what the Ghost of an Eye would say.
Yeah. Best fighting game. For the best game designed primarily around head-to-head combat, God of Rock, Mortal Kombat 1, Nickelodeon All-Stars Brawl 2, Pocket Bravery, and Street Fighter 6.
Isn't it crazy how quickly Nickelodeon All-Stars Brawl just showed up on this list?
You know, I heard it's got some fantastic reviews. Just not the Switch version.
Fair enough.
But okay, before we go on, I would be doing this Anaya dishonor if I did not talk about Pocket Bravery real quick. A game that has a cool looking art style to it, some interesting tournament level fighting mechanics, and reminds me of a Neo Geo Pocket Color game. It just looks really cool. I hope it comes to consoles. I think it is coming to consoles, but I don't know when. It looks super stellar. But my vote's probably going to Street Fighter 6. So it's really down to Street Fighter 6 or Mortal Kombat 1. And while both games have their own communities, I think what makes Street Fighter 6 an interesting fighting game overall is that it has the crossplay. It has the dedicated servers. It has the most, like I said earlier, it's the most inclusive of the fighting games for anybody to just jump on and play a fighting game.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me personally, that's going to be Street Fighter 6. Plus, this is the first Street Fighter in years that gives us all the fun modes back. It's not just about the normal tournament-based fighting game. There's the tag team mode. There's the story mode. The big old open world thing. Arcade mode's back again. Like, I can't believe I have to say that, right?
Yeah, everything seems like so nice when you
Character
had
customizations.
when Street Fighter 5 was like the previous one.
Mm-hmm. So I think it's going to be Street Fighter 6 for me.
I'd also like follow up on that Street Fighter 6, and I would like to say it's mainly because of the experience I had playing with you, Phil, because it was kind of like the Spark Notes way of like learning how like the buttons work, especially if you like fight on the stick for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And just like having that chance to practice with like somebody can really like change your engagement on like a fighting game in like specifically.
We really need to get together again and play some fighting games. Like not just Street Fighter 6.
Not
we
just
should really sit down and like look through some of the games that I have and just go ham.
Yeah, you still don't have Mortal Kombat 1, right?
No, because it's a NetherRealm Studios game, and people who know me, I love Mortal Kombat.
Oh yeah.
I love Injustice. I love NetherRealm Studio games. There's always DLC, and there's always these Game of the Year editions. So I just wait because I want everything at once.
That's fair. That's really fair.
My wife would like to go to the grocery store, so I must depart, gentlemen.
Gotcha.
Wait, Mark, quick. Best action game for you.
Oh, I remember that category was tough. I remember seeing that category. What are the options again?
Let me do a quick. Let me go back to it.
Let's go backwards.
I got you. It was Hi-Fi Rush, Armored Core 6, Dead Island 2, Ghost Runner, and Remnant 2.
Ooh. Man, that is hard, actually.
It's hard. We'll tell you what we voted for, but I want to hear your vote.
Again, I didn't get a chance to play it, but Armored Core would seem like a really strong
There
vote.
you go. We all voted Armored Core.
Because I haven't gotten a chance to play it, but from what I saw, I was like, this looks like it's some high adrenaline fighting right here.
Yep. And I wanted to pick Hi-Fi, but when you think about it, I feel like Armored Core is like the definition of action game.
Yeah, it's very much fast paced and just brr, 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 brr.
Yep. So we picked. Hey, thank you, Mark.
No problem. Now I must go and stock up on groceries.
All right, fair enough.
I got to do that tomorrow.
It is something we must do.
Mm-hmm.
Must be done. All right. Take care, Mark. Thanks for jumping in.
No problem. Mark, bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah, Street Fighter 6 is probably my best fighting game vote.
Yeah, that's fair. And I will also follow up with that with Street Fighter 6 as well. We just put that right there. Cool. What's the next category?
Family game. Ooh, that's tough. These are some good nominations.
Oh no! Except for one.
Well, yeah, for the best game appropriate for family play, irrespective of genre or platform, Disney's Illusion Island, Party Animals, Pikmin 4, Sonic Superstars, and Super Mario Brothers Wonder. All right.
What's your take?
Sonic Superstars can go.
Exactly. you can get out.
I think it's cool that it got nominated. You know, I actually really enjoyed the main story of Sonic Superstars, but the multiplayer is atrocious in that game. The local multiplayer is god awful. There's no reason that should have been nominated. So in that regard, we can just count Superstars out.
Yeah.
I also want to like count Pikmin 4 out because it's not a multiplayer game. Like it's not. So when I think of family game, I feel like everybody's able to participate.
Yeah, I think so too.
But I do want to say that Pikmin 4 is incredible. And the fact that Nintendo EPD, that specific Nintendo studio, all three of their games that they made this year are all nominated for awards. Pikmin 4, Mario Brothers Wonder, The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Like, holy crap, dude. And Pikmin 4, it really is like one of the best Pikmin games, if not the best. So I do want to just give some credit where credit's due. Pikmin 4 is
Yeah.
fantastic.
I think when
I
we look
think
at family, there's definitely just like obviously they kind of like say it in their summary that it's like it's just appropriate for family play, like irrespective of genre or platform. Um, but multiplayer is also very important. Even if it isn't a genre per se, it's more of a just like a player like style or approach.
I understand, but I don't know if when I think about a family game, right? Would I get the entire family together to play Pikmin 4? It's family appropriate as in like it's a children's game, sure. Is that's what they're trying to say?
I guess so, yeah. That's the only thing I would have to support it with.
But so my three, it's gonna go between Mario Wonder, Party Animals, and Disney Illusion Island.
Yeah.
Justin, I know you haven't played an Illusion Island.
I have not, no. But it's what you explained. It's pretty much just like the not OGs, but the Rayman Legend games. But there's no attacking. It's just simply platforming.
It's no attacks. It's basic platforming. In a Metroidvania world. It's Metroidvania.
Oh yeah, that's true.
It's Metroidvania with a really cool, unique art style. It's got that really good Disney like style music, like that orchestration you hear in the cartoons.
Oh, really?
It's really well made. I got to play a lot of it at the Nintendo store in New York. That was the big game they had displayed at the time.
Oh yeah.
So like me, Katrina, and then my other two friends, we were just playing it, and I was like, dude, this is fun. And so we picked it up there. But Mario Wonder's multiplayer is really good when it's local multiplayer. They made a lot of changes to where it's not obnoxious like it is in New Super Mario Brothers.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. Yeah, it's not as obnoxious. There's no like, you can't just like bounce off each other anymore. You can't like smack each other off the screen anymore. It's very much everyone can just play Mario.
It's for me personally, it is tied between Party Animals and Super Mario Brothers. I think Party Animals is just like its cute aesthetic is so approachable with people.
Yeah.
It also has some pretty like simplistic controls here and there. Mario Brothers is pretty simplistic control. Oh, at least I would say personally.
Mm-hmm.
It also has been like a family game for sure, especially with multiplayer involved.
I'm gonna give it to Mario for the mere fact that a Mario game is approachable by anybody. I think Party Animals can turn a lot of people off because of the style of game. I think
fair.
And this is something we've already talked about on a lot of podcasts. 2D Mario is the most like approachable kind of Mario. Like it doesn't allegate everybody who likes 3D Mario because there's some people who can't play those games because of the camera or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there are still the retro fans that love 2D Mario the most.
I think I would also go with Mario Brothers too, because like as much as I love it, not everyone wants to beat the crap out of another person.
Yeah.
But platforming is like universal, I would say. Or at least more universal in that regard.
Yeah,
so, okay.
I'm gonna give it to Mario.
Yeah. Go give it to Mario. Mario.
Mario.
Ooh, here we
Best simulation or strategy game. Best game focused on real-time or turn-based simulation or strategy gameplay, irrespective of platform. Nintendo's on here 3 times. So it's Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp, Cities Skylines 2, Company of Heroes 3, Fire Emblem Engage, and Pikmin 4. I'm gonna let you go first, Justin, because I think
I already have my winner.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's tough too because we have Advance Wars 1 and 2. And granted, like WayForward's like handled this one, but
and I think Advance Wars really is one of the best strategy games of all time.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong. Originally, Intelligent Systems also had like their hand at like Advance Wars, right?
It is an Intelligent Systems game.
Yes, so like it was one of those games that like I unfortunately never got to like play around, and I got into Fire Emblem pretty late. So
my only issue is that Advance Wars is a remake.
Yeah.
And it's like when you look at, I'm telling you right now, it's between Fire Emblem and Pikmin 4 for me, and it's only because I haven't played City Skylines. I want to give Gabe some shout out because I know that he's a big Paradox fan. And he says that he wants to play City Skylines really bad.
That's fair. That's fair.
So, but the thing is, I love Advance Wars. It is one of my favorite strategy games of all time. But Reboot Camp's a remake through and through.
Mm-hmm.
And if we're talking based on original ideas, it's between Fire Emblem and Pikmin 4. And
I understand that then.
I'm assuming your vote is Fire Emblem, correct?
I will say it's Fire Emblem because I have not really tried out Pikmin 4 yet. It was one of those things where I focused on just getting Pikmin 1 and 2, like when that came out. And I'll just wait for Pikmin 4 because like it's not something I'm immediately trying to like go after. But Fire Emblem is always like Fire Emblem. And honestly, I think as far as like the strategy aspects of the game, it's pretty straightforward. It's pretty like simplistic as far as the Fire Emblem like formula. More of it is just on the presentation and the preparations involved like before you jump into the actual like gameplay mechanics of it. But just putting it all together, I think it's actually like one that a lot of people just like turn down without really giving it like a fair shake. So I would TLDR, it's Fire Emblem for me.
Okay. For me, it's Pikmin 4. Kind of for the same reason as you. I haven't actually really gotten my teeth into Engage.
Mm-hmm.
But when Katrina and I have been playing Pikmin 4, we're still not done with the game, but we've been playing it, and it's the things that you have to do in that game are so cool, like the strategy wise. It's like making sure you're multitasking, making sure that the Pikmins are over here, making sure that they're doing what they got to do to bring their stuff back to your base, or the nighttime stuff where it's essentially tower defense, making sure that everybody's going where they need to be to make sure that you're not letting the enemies get to the tower.
Okay.
And then they brought back the dungeons and the caves from Pikmin 2. Granted, they're not randomly generated anymore, so thank God for that. But they're well crafted. It means that there's a way to navigate these dungeons and making sure you're out by making sure that Pikmin over here doing what they got to do, and while you're over here with the other base, making sure they're taking out enemies, but making sure that they're not going to fall into the water and die. Like it's all just like multitasking, and I think that's very strategic for me.
Yeah, that's fair.
So for me, it's going to Pikmin 4. But
okay.
I can totally understand why Fire Emblem Engage would be your choice. That game is, I mean, it's Fire Emblem, right? Like it is the tactical game. Like I feel like Persona 5 Tactica was too late to come out.
Yeah, a lot of these games were a little bit too late to come out. So, well, I'm not sure. Would you even put Super Mario RPG? Considering it's almost like
it's a remake. So no, I wouldn't have put it in best RPG. I would have put best music.
Okay, yeah.
I would have put best music only because music's subjective. And I mean, Final Fantasy VII Remake won best music when it's the same soundtrack.
This is true.
I mean, granted, it's obviously not the same soundtrack. There's obviously a big difference, but
as far as like the core of it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Yeah, I believe that music is also pretty subjective when it comes to like what was the best one of the year.
Best sports, or did you vote?
Oh yeah, I did.
Okay. Best sports and racing game. For the best traditional and non-traditional sports and racing games, your nominees are EA Sports FC 12, which used to be FIFA. It's now called FC.
Really? Oh, okay.
Yeah, they lost the license for FIFA, so they can't use it anymore. So it's now called FC.
We're living in a different timeline now.
Yep. F123, Forza Motorsport, Hot Wheels Unleashed 2 Turbocharged, which just came out. That's crazy.
That's wild.
And the Crew Motorfest.
I never got to play like any of the Hot Wheels Unleashed games. Well, as in two of them.
Yeah, I heard they were good.
Yeah, I heard that too.
Yeah, I should probably look into picking them up. They sound pretty fun.
Yeah,
I have a Hot Wheels game on my 64 that's really fun. But
oh really? Okay.
Yeah. Cool. For me, it's between two games. It's between F123 and Forza Motorsport, and it's because I'm gonna give some credit to where credit's due. The F1 series is fun. It's barely on the border of realism.
Really?
It's barely on the border. Like you're there, like it is a little realistic, but the controls are not realistic. Like you can get away with a lot of things in those games.
Oh, okay.
I haven't played 23, mind you, but I played some of the older ones and they're pretty fun. Codemasters got bought up by EA, so now they're considered an EA company.
Oh, interesting.
But Codemasters is known for these kinds of games. That being said, Forza is up there as my favorite 2 simulation driving games of all time, right? Like it's Forza and Gran Turismo. And I mean, the new Forza Motorsport is incredible when it comes to traditional driving. It's not as arcadey as Horizon, which is I prefer, but that's just bias. Like that's just me being biased, right? Like I love arcade style games.
So it would be.
It's probably going to Forza. Because I think Forza really changes how you look at like realistic driving games. Gran Turismo 7 was good, and it was a step in the right direction after being basically dead during the PS4. But Forza, you know, it's still going, and this is the complete reboot of the series. Like this is the next gen version.
That's fair. I think I'd also give it to Forza just because it's just taking a lot of time to cook, and honestly, it looks really impressive.
Yeah, it is a technical showcase for your Xbox Series X.
Yeah, and just the current generation of games for driving.
Best multiplayer for outstanding online multiplayer gameplay and design, including co-op and massively multiplayer experiences, irrespective of game genre or platform. Sponsored by Discord.
That's so funny, but that's also very true.
Your nominees are Baldur's Gate 3, Diablo 4, Party Animals, Street Fighter 6, and Super Mario Brothers Wonder. I didn't really play too much of the online in Mario Wonder. I thought it was whatever, but I kind of get it.
I kind of get that too. Like, I think it's one of those interesting like connections, even if you're not even doing Discord or anything like that. But honestly, just random people like dropping like pins here, and it only serves to help you. At least I've only seen it be able to help people. I think that's just a nice little tool here and there. But it's kind of like a passive multiplayer type of experience.
Yeah.
I think a lot of joys of it is just simply connecting with other people. But at the same time, there's also like things like Fortnite where you're battling against other people. Maybe not even a squad, but you know, solo and stuff like that. So there's that to consider. That and Street Fighter's literally like 1v1.
Yeah, but before I get to that, Party Animals is cool to play online.
Yeah,
that was fun. That was a fun experience. But it's kind of limited sometimes. There's not much to do.
I see that.
Yeah. Granted, it's considered a live service game, so it's always going to get updated. But
yeah.
I heard Diablo 4 multiplayer is that's obviously the way to play Diablo 4. You know what I mean? Like Diablo is played mostly in multiplayer. That's kind of the obvious way to play it.
I was gonna say that Diablo 4 seems like it has not just like the story, but also like different modes and stuff like that, even post game that like really pushes you to like jump in with other folks. So I think there's like that aspect to consider when it comes to Diablo 4. Similar to Baldur's Gate 3 as far as story, perhaps.
Yeah. I was gonna say similar to Baldur's Gate 3. Essentially, you're just playing together and going on an adventure together.
That sounds like a lot of fun, actually.
It does. My thing is, again, I was kind of going to go for Street Fighter 6. I know you said it's because it's 1v1. But again, when you're talking about multiplayer games, I think it's interesting to have a dedicated server to where everybody's just jumping online. They're just playing matches in the same server where crossplay, you know what I mean? Like,
that's true.
Now, granted, Diablo 4 also has crossplay, so I'm not going to disqualify that. I think I'm between Diablo 4 and Street Fighter 6 when it comes to multiplayer.
Yeah, this one's kind of tough. You know, I think I would, if anything, I'd be interested. I'd probably go with Diablo 4.
I think so too. I was thinking about it.
It is a tough category on that front.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Diablo 4 on that one.
Diablo 4. Next.
Best adaptation. Oh my God.
Oh no.
Jesus Christ, dude. Okay. Recognizing outstanding creative work that faithfully and authentically adapts a video game to another entertainment medium. Castlevania Nocturne, Gran Turismo, The Last of Us, Super Mario Brothers movie, and Twisted Metal. Before we discredit Twisted Metal,
Why did you? How did you?
let me just say I heard it was actually a good time.
Oh, really? Okay.
I have not seen it. But I heard that it's you're not supposed to take it seriously. Like just think of it as things that are happening in the world of Twisted Metal,
Mm.
and that it's actually a fun time. And then Gran Turismo is an interesting choice because it is based on a true story of some sort
Mm.
that involves the game, but they're not. The movie is not about the game.
Well, I mean, like maybe the premise, like initially, but then like it definitely just takes its own like direction, and
Well,
Gran Turismo is just like the sidest of pieces.
it's based on the fact that they had a competition for Gran Turismo and the winner would get to race for real. And that's what it is.
and
It's
that's
based on that.
and that's pretty much that's where like it gets connections, and then it just kind of goes rails off.
Yeah. So I don't know.
So I don't know about that
but-
one. Yeah,
And I haven't seen Nocturne.
I
But
should.
it's the season with Richter, so it should be good.
Yeah, you got to actually watch that.
But for me, it's going to be between The Last of Us and Super Mario Brothers movie.
Same, actually.
mean-
I never really actually watched the Last of Us series, but I've heard nothing but good praise as far as the adaptation.
My God, dude. What should I start with first talking about? Should I talk about Mario movie or should I talk about Last of Us first?
I think you should talk about Mario movie.
Okay. When it comes to the Mario movie,
Okay.
it had everything going against it. Like when they initially announced it when it was going, right? Like it had everything initially against that movie. It was being done by Illumination, aka the Minion Studio. The casting list was weird at first. Like Chris Pratt as Mario is what? Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong is what? But then when you see the first trailer and you see the creativity going into that movie, you're like, okay, hold on. And it's weird. The movie is kind of like what Nintendo wanted to do with the original live action movie. It's got the same setup. They're two brothers from Brooklyn that fall into the wrong kingdom,
Mm-hmm.
and they have to help fix the kingdom. That's literally
That's
what
it.
happened in the live action movie. Except this one actually follows more of it doesn't follow any story. It's its own story.
There's some similar
It-
premises, obviously, like giving characters and where they're currently at in the game's world. They kind of like tie it together, give a really quick synopsis. If not, it just is placed like that. Like Bowser is just Bowser. He's like the leader of the Koopas. That's it. That's all you really need to know about it.
Yep.
And then with Peach, it was like a very mild like upbringing for her. She was like raised by the Toads, so that's why she's Princess Toadstool. That's it.
Exactly. And then on top of that, it's just the world. It feels so alive in the Mushroom Kingdom. Like everything was so beautifully animated in that movie. The
Mhm.
way that they portrayed the characters are fun. Like they were pretty spot on. I will say, with as weird as the casting choice is, I did not hate it. I thought Chris Pratt did fine as Mario. I thought
Same.
Charlie Day was perfect as Luigi.
True.
I thought Jack Black was
Phenomenal.
yeah, he stole the show as Bowser.
Mhm.
It's
And I love the Seth Rogen laugh.
yeah, the Seth Rogen laugh being there is the funniest thing. Yeah, they did a really good job with the Mario Brothers movie.
Mhm.
And I mean, hey, it's not the number one animated movie in the year for no reason, right?
Yeah, Illumination did like good works with this one too.
Mm-hmm. If anything, it's a little too short.
Really?
It's about an hour and a half long.
Oh wow, I guess so. Yeah.
It's a little too short. The actual plot is like non-existent.
It's pretty bare minimal, actually.
Yeah, it's very minimal. Bowser rules kingdom, kidnaps Luigi, Mario saves.
Yeah,
That also,
that was a different change to it.
I also think that there are some people that were upset that Peach wasn't the damsel in distress. Let me explain that. I understand that we don't live in that kind of time period anymore.
Have you ever
So
played
Peach-
Super Princess Peach?
Yeah, we don't live in that era anymore.
We don't do that here.
So Peach can be a damsel in distress, but she shouldn't always be the damsel in distress.
Mm-hmm.
So, and she was kidnapped at one point in the movie. She almost got married.
That's true. She had to kind of like give up willingly at that point, though.
Yeah.
Like, I think it was like a validated reason as to why she had to be in that situation. Otherwise, she's just like the leader of like the Toads, and therefore has to like act on her position at all times.
You know, like, I get it. It's cool. I like it. I like how Peach has an interesting role in this one. It's not just, oh, I'm the female and I gotta get
Mario
rescued. That's it. The Last of Us, right?
This is gonna be a tough one because I actually never really watched it, but I hear people talk about it nonstop when it was airing.
I
releasing.
Watched all of it.
Mm.
Because The Last of Us is a game that I hold dearly to my heart. I really love the first game. Like, I love both games. I am a fan of part 1 and part 2, and we'll get to part 2 in a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I am a fan of part 1 more though. It's a game that Katrina and I bonded over, I guess, when we started going out.
Mm.
You know, like she actually got to see a video game tell a story essentially, and it's like, whoa, like the story that she was interested in, and so we played it together and we enjoyed the hell out of it. And for me, that was like, yo, this is like a gateway. Like we can talk about these things together now. And I enjoyed every piece of The Last of Us, like the original, like the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
The show is phenomenal.
Oh,
Granted, it's a little cheating because they already have a good story. they didn't have to go.
That's fair.
They didn't have to stray too far off the path. But what I loved the most about the show is they did the one thing that should be done to a game that already has a lot of exposition and stuff. They expanded the universe more than it ever had been.
Oh, okay.
Every episode definitely follows the story beat for beat for the most part, but it gives you so much more background to characters. It literally shows you Joel's life before everything happens.
Oh, okay.
It literally shows you not just the, hey, I'm late from work, sorry I couldn't be for my birthday part, you know, like not just that, but it shows his daughter going to school. It shows how she was friends with her neighbors. It shows that they had a life before everything happened.
Mm.
It gives you more, it essentially gives you more context for the game.
Not just
And
that
I
they're
think
from
that's,
Brooklyn or anything like that.
yeah. It gives you more context to the characters and makes them much more like you feel more with them now that you understand more of the background. Having said that, there are also the parts where they did change a lot, actually. Episode 3, I think, is the one that people like to point out the most. Me too. Because the thing they did with Frank was excellent. I think they handled that perfectly well. Because it's a small throwaway line in the game when he says, I forgot the other character's name and I feel bad, but it's like, where's the other guy? And he's just like, my partner, he's gone. That's all he says. They didn't have to actually go out of their way to explain that he's gay, but they did. And they showed that relationship, and they showed a side of Frank that you would have never seen in the game.
Mm.
And it's like, and they did change how Frank is portrayed in the game for sure. But wow, that episode had me in tears by the end of it. I was like, oh my god, dude. Like that episode, I think has 5 minutes of Joel and Ellie. That's it.
Oh my god.
And it's one of the best episodes in the show. Like it's so good. Also, spoilers for anybody who hasn't watched The Last of Us. I'm sorry, it's been out for a while now. The last episode. So everybody knows both the original actor and actress, Troy Baker and Ashley Johnson, are in the show as somebody else, right? They're not Joel and Ellie, obviously. Troy Baker's cameo is that he actually works for David. If you know that part of the game. He's David's right-hand man. You know, before he gets a little too uncomfortable with Ellie. But Ashley Johnson's part had me in tears because she plays Ellie's mom.
Oh no.
And I was like, oh my god. Of course. And it actually shows you that part where she dies and where she has to give up Ellie.
Oh my
like
god.
it's crazy. It's crazy. But other than that, it does follow the actual story beat for beat. You know, you get to see the Sam and his brother. You get to see all that. You get to see the very end where Joel's just taking out a whole hospital. You know what I mean? Like everything's there beat for beat. It even ends on the same line.
Oh my god.
So for me, as much as I love Mario Brothers and I thought the movie was phenomenal, I think it's The Last of Us.
Oh boy.
I personally think The Last of Us was you're not going to get anything better in video game adaptations. You're not.
That's crazy to even say.
I think The Last of Us, if you're going to do a movie or TV show version, that's how you do it. That's the golden standard.
Yeah. Makes me wonder how they would have done it. I mean, given, Last of Us is, I guess, the genre for it versus, say, Mario Brothers, how would you adapt that into, I guess in this case, like an episodic type of thing?
Mario... I was gonna say with Mario as an episode or like a TV show, it would just be sketches. It would be like the original 80s cartoons, right? Like the Super Mario Bros. Super Show.
Oh yeah.
It would just be that, yeah. It would be, hey, Bowser's up to no good today. What's the thing he's gonna do? It'd be like the Sonic cartoons as well.
But I guess my question is, would it ever like surpass something that is almost like that's almost made to elicit like a specific feeling out of you instead of just like, haha, funny joke. Anyway, next thing type of thing. Because The Last of Us is like specifically like driving into like a level of morality within us. Hopefully it resounds in all of us when we watch it.
Yeah.
That make us like personally get attached to it and therefore like elevated by that like process to put it
that's
up. That's
interesting to put up. Because you're not wrong on that front.
Because I think Castlevania actually, like, not even just Nocturne, but we're talking about like the OG. Well, I would say OG, but the Castlevania when it was first adapted to Netflix. That there was definitely a story behind Castlevania, and I never even followed that kind of story. And then Netflix put a lot of like themes to that one and made it like a little bit more like down to earth, despite like there being vampires on a floating castle. You got really connected to the characters that way. And obviously there's also really cool fight sequence. And I think Nocturne's no exception on that one. But
this is hard because best adaptation's hard because we're now in a time frame where video game adaptations are now
getting good
at a point where it's sometimes better than the game. Sometimes.
Yeah, I just wanted to point and bring that up because I feel like a lot of things that give us like that type of emotional connection for sure kind of makes us like lean towards it and support it even more so because of like what it does for us. But at the same time, like you definitely had a response to like Mario Bros. Movie. Like even I did too. And I'm not like too far into like the fandom for Mario Brothers either.
Yeah, like Super Mario Brothers is my favorite video game series of all time. Like if I were to trade everything behind me in or get rid of everything, I would always keep my Nintendo consoles to play Mario.
Mm-hmm.
That is the series I will continue to always just follow until the day I die. And just yeah, it is the series that I feel like is one of the most innovative in video game history. It always tries to change the genre and push forward.
Mm-hmm.
He's pretty much the Mickey Mouse of video games. So for me, it's like a mascot. Yeah, I don't know. It's my favorite video game series of all time. So the Mario movie being a damn good movie really hits hard. It's just that I love the world of The Last of Us as well. It's hard.
True.
It's a hard decision. It's a hard decision.
It's tough. I think personally, I'll just, because it's the only thing I've watched, I'd probably vote Mario Brothers movie. But that's not to take away from what The Last of Us, like from HBO and PlayStation Productions, like has done.
Damn, this one was the toughest one out of all of them so far.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I'm gonna give it to The Last of Us. I think it was incredible. I mean, for Christ's sakes, my family was talking about it. They don't play video games.
They don't play video. Oh my god, yeah, it's that bridge that a lot of these adaptations will try to do.
It's like my dad's over here talking to me about the game, the show, and I'm like, Dad, I know this. I was like, wait till you see episode 1 of season 2. Like my sister doesn't play video. Well, she plays video games, but not like that. She's not very good at like the ones with camera controls and stuff like that.
All right, fair.
And so she didn't know about The Last of Us like that. And so she watched it, and now we can have an actual conversation about that show and that universe.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I would probably give it to The Last of Us, but that's just me.
That's fair.
It's tough because I wanted to give it to Mario really badly. Really, I'm like hovering over it, but yeah. It's The Last of Us. Ooh, that one was tough. We don't have to go too much time into this next one. We already know what it's going to be.
100%. But
but most anticipated game, because I feel like all of these games are games I want to play.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's not a single game on this list that's something I don't want to play. Recognizing an announced game that has demonstratively illustrated potential to push the gaming medium forward. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Hades 2, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, Star Wars Outlaws, Tekken 8. All of these games are games I want to play. I'm excited for every single one of these. Star Wars Outlaws looks like a really cool take on the Star Wars universe where you're not just a Jedi, you're just a bounty hunter, you're just being a gangster essentially in that series. And Like a Dragon, man, I really need to sit down and play the whole series from beginning to end because that game is pushing like crazy. Those games are doing numbers. And Hades 2, I mean, god damn, dude, Hades 1 is incredible.
So, I mean, you know what? We have not even heard a single thing about Hades 2 since its announcement. And that's got me thinking, like, they're cooking. They're cooking big time.
And I was going to say, do you need to? Because
you don't. No, you don't. It's probably going to play the exact same way, and we're going to love it. We're going to eat it up.
Tekken 8,
same thing.
Like it's about to push Tekken 8's about to push the 3D fighting game genre forward as well.
Mm-hmm.
But we all know it's Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
Because God damn it, man, I love Final Fantasy VII Rebirth or remake and 7 in general.
I think
because I'm a weeb. All right, is that what you want me to tell you?
The word come out.
Although a real weeaboo would pick Like a Dragon, but I like Final Fantasy. I'm gonna pick Final Fantasy.
I think it's a mix between like the existing fandom and actually getting your eyes open to like the actual development, the story of 7 and how like big it is with the characters too. Because every single Final Fantasy has like a focus on like different characters in the story, but none of them. And I mean, 16 is kind of getting close to that, but like literally none of them have like this weird, intricate like bit of understanding from every aspect of characters in Final Fantasy VII. Not that I've seen, not that I've ever seen. No one's talked about any other Final Fantasy the way that people have talked about Final Fantasy VII. from my perspective. It's crazy. People talk
It's
about
not
like
my
different hypotheses, like different places, and I'm like, what are you even talking about?
It's not my favorite Final Fantasy game, but it is considered one of the best games of all time. So yeah, I love it.
Fair enough.
Content creator of the year. I don't know any of these people. Do you?
I only know about Iron Mouse, and that's just by association of another content creator. This is why collaborations are kind of key here and there, but otherwise, it's the content creators themselves. But unfortunately, I don't really see these people. The content creation pool has become like so dispersed to a point where YouTubers, you don't even recognize them at this point. There was a certain point from
Yeah.
like 2005, 6, 8 to like 2000, like maybe 18 at most, that you know these people, and unless you like really followed them from like the start or like somewhere in between, you don't know what they are or who these new folks are. So I will
Quackity
just,
sounds funny. I'm gonna just choose Quackity.
I'm gonna pick Iron Mouse because there's just a lot of context I heard about that one. So I was like, okay, yeah, I'll
Yeah,
support it.
Quackity sounds hilarious. The name sounds dumb, and I'm cool with it. Best esports game for the game that has delivered the best overall esports experience to players, inclusive of tournaments, community support, and content updates, irrespective of genre or platform. Counter-Strike 2, Dota 2, League of Legends, PUBG Mobile, oh god, and Valorant. We can just scratch PUBG now. Let me
Damn.
see.
Rest in peace, PUBG. You've definitely had your run.
We can scratch Dota 2 as well.
Yeah, I don't
think
really hear a lot about
Counter-Strike 2 is
maybe,
huge.
but like, yeah. I
It's
think
probably
probably League, but I do want to give shout outs to Valorant because even if it's not like something I see competitively, people play it. People will just
Yep.
play the hell out of it.
I'm gonna give it to League because Arcane is cool and Project L's coming out. That's as good as it's gonna get.
Fair. That's fair. Yeah, I'll vote for League on that front.
Best esports athletes. I don't know any of these people.
Yeah. This is the part where like we're gonna just see a lot of ones that we just don't recognize. I'm gonna pick Faker.
Faker.
Okay, real quick
Look,
story. So Samsung over in TwitchCon actually had a booth where you had like different like things you get to check out as far as like the Samsung like line of stuff, whether it be like the foldable or the actual phone itself. You do all these things. You get like a scanner to kind of like do virtual stamps, and once you get all stamps, you just go up and submit like a raffle, get a prize. I got a Faker mouse pad. And I was like, I don't know, Faker. I think I just went with that joke. But then I was like, okay.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go with him. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't really care. Best esports team. I don't know.
You know what? I kind of went on when I was talking about this on like one of my streams. It was like, you know what? I'm just gonna pick a Valorant one. I'm gonna pick Evil Geniuses and move forward.
I'm gonna just do all esports League of Legends.
Oh, okay.
Screw it. Screw it.
And then Christine Potter. I will go for that one then.
Evil or esports coach. Yoon Hom Sung Young sounds cool. Here you go.
All right, fair enough. And you know what's coming up next? You already know the answer.
Best esports event. Yeah, I do. It's Valorant Champions 2023.
Hey, wait.
That's Evo. Evo is
100%.
They got the keys to Vegas this year. It's Evo.
That was so cool to hear about. Okay.
And that's 30. It's time.
It's that time to vote for the game of the year.
The game of the year. Your nominees for game of the year this year are Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Marvel's Spider-Man 2, Resident Evil 4, Super Mario Brothers Wonder, and The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom.
All right, so
that's one hell of a lineup.
I think it's crazy to see Alan Wake 2 here.
I think it's crazy to see Resident Evil 4 on here. So we're on the opposite spectrum, sir.
I only say Alan Wake 2 is a surprise because like literally it came out like only recently. And I've heard nothing about like, well, I mean, I'm not following reviews, that's one thing. But also like yeah, it's one that's like no one's talking about. It's same as Control.
I think we're sleeping on Remedy games. I think that's just what it is.
I guess that is.
Because Control did the same thing, and I was like, "What the hell is Control?" And I had to buy it and play it. And you know what? I get it. I wasn't gonna win that year, but I get it.
Baldur's Gate.
I just
I think honestly, well, I mean, Resident Evil 4 was kind of like early out the gates here, so
my problem with Resident Evil, it's a remake. And that's not to discredit it, because Final Fantasy VII Remake was nominated that one year as well. But
that
Final
was
Fantasy VII completely changes that game.
Yeah, it's a different formula, different approach. And I would say that Resident Evil 4 like really is, well, I mean, Resident Evil 4 OG was kind of that transition towards third person, and that's what like a lot of the games have like adopted, minus 7 and Village.
Because I also want to bring up Resident Evil 2 was nominated, remake was nominated for Game of the Year one year as well. And again, that makes sense to me. That game completely changed what Resident Evil 2 was. This one sticks closer. Okay, to give credit where credit's due, it is a full-blown remake. It is not the same game. They are very different games. But it feels closer to the original than its other counterparts. It's got the skeleton. It's even got the bingo joke. Come on.
But we love the bingo joke.
I love that.
Where's everyone going?
Ass joke.
Bingo.
That has me rolling every time. But it's like, yo, give me a break, dude. Hi-Fi Rush could have been on this list. Final Fantasy 16 could have been on that list.
Yeah. But I would say, I guess, as devil's advocate, like, even though it's not a remake, Tears of the Kingdom is like almost exact DNAs as like Breath of the Wild, as far as like the development, the play style. There's definitely different mechanics there, and Resident Evil 4 kind of like adds a couple of bits here and there.
Yeah.
So I guess by that, like, I can understand why Resident Evil 4 should be here. Just as like a standalone thing that obviously does have a lot of influence from its predecessor, but this is definitely like what Capcom is currently like able to do with like the RE engine. And like,
I don't know.
It's tough though. I get you.
I think for Game of the Year, we're gonna have to take these games one by one, right?
Sure. Alan Wake is like the shortest thing for me.
Sure. I'll only say that Alan Wake 2 is the big anticipated follow-up to the original classic on 360 way back in the day.
Way back. And then the new remake for that one.
Yeah. And, Remedy is a fantastic studio. I mean, the Max Payne games, Alan Wake 1, Control, Quantum Break. They do very interesting ways to make games. And I personally have not played Alan Wake 2, and I want to. I really, really want to, because it's a game I've been wanting to play, and I would have picked it up had it been a physical copy, but there's no physical copy for it.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So that's very unfortunate, but I'm just going to give my thoughts out there. Baldur's Gate 3.
Baldur's Gate 3.
Is the one I think is going to win.
Really? Okay.
I'm pretty damn sure it's going to win Game of the Year. It's not my Game of the Year, but it's going to win Game of the Year.
This one's a kind of a difficult one because people have talked about it, people shared like their experiences, but as far as the gameplay itself, I don't think it's ever like shown in front of me. It's really like the moment to moment like bits.
I think
it's so interesting as far as like how people are like sharing that experience.
The gameplay is interesting. It's a point and click style RPG. Like, it's one of those old school style RPGs. Okay. It really is. It's a sequel. It is a sequel to a series of games that exists. Granted, the last game was like 20 something years ago, but it exists. How about this? The original 2 games were made by BioWare.
Oh, yeah. Okay, no, that's easy sweep.
But Larian has a lot of like talent behind it. I mean, they're the creators of Divinity: Original Sin 1 and 2. So it's like, I don't know. Baldur's Gate 3 is probably going to take it because of critical reception for sure. The kids yearn. The kids yearn for these kind of games nowadays, and I'm glad they finally got it. Marvel Spider-Man 2
Hooey.
is incredible. I love that game. It is
Mhm.
really fun. I think it's one of the best superhero games you're ever going to play.
Well, damn. All right.
It's just hard. It's a hard pick when you've got others on here
That's kind of tough then.
because Spider-Man 2 is fantastic. It is a great game. It is also just a sequel. It's a sequel in the most traditional sense of sequels. It's the same like style of gameplay, but I can't discredit that because there's a lot of sequels on here. I think every one of these is a sequel.
Yeah, technically speaking, yeah.
So
But yeah, I mean,
I think what the biggest strength of Spider-Man 2 is the writing. I think
Yeah?
it's the way they portray Peter and Miles and the struggles they go through. But it's also my favorite parts are like the side missions when you're just helping New York, like you're just being Spider-Man. You're being your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Some of those things, man, they're really cool.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I can't really say too much about it. I can only just go based off of like my experience with OG Spider-Man, like from 2018 to remastered, and also Miles Morales. And the fact is that the brilliant thing about sequels is that they can really take, with the exception of Alan 2, they wanted to kind of like take their own different approach on that one. But otherwise, they could pretty much take the existing formula and just like really refine it to meet like other needs and also like respond to like feedback from previous games. And I think Spider-Man 2 had that potential, and obviously by reception does follow up on like a lot of those feedbacks and makes it like even better. Like one of the things that you can like definitely improve on is of course like, you know, the action stuff, or I guess, you know, fighting and whatnot, upgrades. And in this case they also like boast about like the stories, like just being portrayed, as well as like character development. The side missions have gotten like improvement. Traversal's been improved too. So it's like I think it just really is tough because it has a lot of competition like amongst 6. But otherwise it's a really good game. So it seems.
I personally think if it's nominated, you should check it out. For sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
If any of these games that are nominated here are up here, they're up here for a reason. You know, I'm about to play devil's advocate for the good side on Resident Evil 4 right now because look, let me be perfectly clear. I think it's kind of cheating that it's a remake that it's on here. But man, what a remake. You know what I mean? Like they made sure to keep the original game spirit. They made sure to keep what makes Resident Evil 4 Resident Evil 4, but modernizing it. And it's funny because this was a game that's been long rumored in development, and you know, when I think of Resident Evil games that need a remake, 4 is not the first one that comes to mind. I thought Code Veronica was the next one that really needs one. You know, it's the last missing piece of the series, and it's the only one that's not played in the third person, or like it's not been touched since its original inception. So when they said 4, I was like, okay, Capcom, that's an easy money. Like, come on. But then when you play it, and I've only played a bit of it, I'm like, I get it. I understand now. This is really, really cool as a remake. They expand on a lot of the story elements. They expand on the world. It's a damn good Resident Evil game. One of the best. It always has been the case for 4, but now it's even better. There's still room to play the original, mind you. It's one of those remakes where the original can still coexist with this game.
Yeah.
So it's not a total replacement like Mario RPG is for Switch.
I guess my thing with Resident Evil 4, we have the GameCube version here at home. I never played it. I've always just watched my brother play through it. It's crazy. I mean, similar. Well, I mean, the franchise also has Resident Evil 2, and now Resident Evil 7. As far as like games that like really have like these memorable moments, have like some pretty good gameplay. I can't really say about Resident Evil 2 at the time, but as far as like those remakes, they're really good, and I feel like it kind of is similar. I mean, not to the same level, I would say. I think 7 Final Fantasy 7 has like the craziest like community backing on it possible, and but Resident Evil 4 also respectively has like a strong backing to it because of like what they've done with the formula. That's where they pivoted off and did like third person for like a hot minute, and are kind of picking that back up now with since the remake of Resident Evil 2. I think that just kind of speaks for itself. And though I haven't really played this one, definitely there's a reason why, and it's not just because of the legacy of it, but you know how what they've done to refine like this particular game that makes it, you know, kind of belong in Game of the Year category. So that's my only 2 cents about that.
Yep. I agree with all that. That's a good way to explain it.
Mm-hmm.
Super Mario Brothers Wonder.
Ooh. I'm gonna try to jump into that like maybe today if possible. But we've been talking for a little bit.
Good. We talked about it for a bit today, but I'm just gonna close it with it really is one of the best 2D platformers of all time. It sits up there with the greats. And this is the game that Nintendo needed for this series. It needed that injection of creativity that hasn't really been seen since at least New Super Mario Brothers Wii, at the very least, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's everything I ever wanted in a 2D Mario game, ever. Well, up until this point. And the idea, the landscapes are beautiful. The level design is just S+ tier from Nintendo. It's a game that still shows that Nintendo still has tricks up their sleeve.
Mm-hmm.
Even after all these years later, making the same style and the same franchise, Mario still pushes platformers forward.
Mm-hmm.
And that's hard to do. But somehow, some way, the Mario series does it.
It's insane. I only have experience with Mario Brothers Wonder through the kiosk, which is, first of all, on a separate side note, that's wild that they just had the kiosk for that, like just like prior to the release of it. But when I played of it, like it you know, aesthetic wise, let me just say that like it's phenomenal to look at, especially since we've had years to just play through the new Super Mario Brothers like formula, the artistic like direction for that series, and that's still good, just saturated, very saturated.
Yeah.
To a point where like we see this game, and you know, not to discredit because it's now hyped up because of like what we've been given, what we've been fed for a while. No, it's just gorgeous, period. And on top of that, when you actually sit down and play it, you feel, I mean, granted, this is kind of hindsight, so I'll just go based on hindsight. It just has like a feeling that it's been refined for years, that the controls are just right. They're not like super tight or they're not loose. They're just like just right. And I also echo what you've said, Phil, that Nintendo's just needed this for like the Mario franchise, a 2D platformer that kind of sits within the generation of the Nintendo Switch that people can like clamor up to and talk about for like the next couple of years, and also just be something akin to someone's next like Mario Brothers 3, for example, or Mario Brother like Land. It's just, yeah,
Yep.
it's definitely what was needed for like the series, and obviously this has a place here for a reason.
Yep. It's an incredible game. I loved it all the way through from beginning to end. The minute I got to level 2 and the stupid Piranha Plant March started happening, I had the dumbest smile on my face the whole time. And I was like, this is why I like video games. Like, it's such a good game, dude. It really is a good game. And the same can be said for The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. You know, Zelda is like my second favorite series of all time. And you know, when the initial idea of an open world Zelda sounded whatever, honestly, to me, I like structure. I like being able to just go forward through the dungeons. But I feel like Breath of the Wild was fantastic at the time. I loved it. I absolutely loved that game. It's my third favorite Zelda game. Tears of the Kingdom beats that game out for me personally. And it's not just because it's the same game. It's the fact that the whole game feels like a dungeon. It's the whole game asks you to think, to really understand its mechanics, to really figure out creative ways to traverse the game. And that's not an easy thing to do and balance out. But I had nothing but like fun, endless adventures with that game, especially because for personal reasons between all of us. The messages of like, hey, what did you find today? Oh, I went over here. I did this. You're not going to believe what I saw over here. Sephi, what did you figure out today? Oh, I went this direction. And it's like, yo, we're helping each other out. That was the original Zelda in a nutshell. Like we were just doing what 80s kids were doing without even like thinking about it. We were just doing it. So my experience with Tears of the Kingdom is greatly enhanced by playing with at the same time as everybody else. Would that be better? Would it work if you play it now? Yeah, the game still is creative. The game still has those really, really cool moments where you have to think in those shrines. You got to be like, well, what can I use that's in front of me or what I have? What does the game give me to provide and what can I use to figure out this puzzle? That's cool. That game is fantastic for that. It does start to feel a little samey when you're on Hyrule. I'm not gonna lie. But there's enough there that they've changed for that game. There is enough for it to warrant a sequel.
Ooh. All right. Also, just shout outs to the first time chatter. Hello, how's it going? I guess this is my platform to talk about Tears of the Kingdom. God, where do I even go with that one? So I have to. It has to start with like Breath of the Wild. Like my perspective, unfortunately, can't be like by Tears of the Kingdom like as a standalone. Side note: I kind of don't really like the fact that they really try to like take out bits and pieces from Breath of the Wild and try to keep this like as an individual story. It's not. You can't do that. They gotta stop. They gotta actually reference a couple of things, please. But aside from that, kind of going back in 2017 when Breath of the Wild like came out and I tried that out. It was probably like, if not, it was like my favorite like game of all time, and maybe Tears of the Kingdom is now like taking that over. But it was my game of the year and just of all time because it kind of gave me like this sense of discovery that I feel like I've never had for any other game, even if it was open world. It was a game that didn't tell you anything, and honestly, with Tears of the Kingdom, there is a little bit of like contextual stuff that they give you, but it's ultimately the same thing, but they give you more of it. Kind of what you were saying, the fact that, you know, once you land on Hyrule, you don't really know where other people are going to be going. There is that sense, and it really all comes back to like OG Legend of Zelda, to which I wondered to myself, like, why didn't I like OG Legend of Zelda? I think it's because of like how games have evolved, and I think, you know, when you just like have no idea where you're going, you just hear do, 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 and you're like, okay, I guess I'll just go in any direction. But I don't know, that didn't really like get to me the same way as Breath of the Wild did. And you know, to a certain extent, once you like hit the title card, that's when Tears of the Kingdom like just lets you go, and you just kind of explore. And it's always been like the sense of discovery for me that makes it like such a fantastic game. As far as like engaging you, having you be immersed into the world, because that's like the first step, is just getting interested in what the game's having to show you. The big thing that separates Tears of the Kingdom from Breath of the Wild and why I love Tears of the Kingdom now is the fact that there's different stories. Like there's a little bit more than just you trying to like create the narrative. Like there's actual narrative stuff that goes into this, and there's a little bit of mystery involved with it. That once you like follow certain characters, and granted it's the same type of verbiage over and over, the upheaval, where's Zelda, and you already picked up the pieces, but people are just trying to piece it out themselves. All of this coming together, all these different side stories coming together into like the full truth that you don't even need to know by the time you like reach like the final boss. So I think it's not just the sense of discovery, but it's also the narrative has been like enhanced forward somehow, despite them taking back from like the other game. Learning about what Zelda has to go through and where she ended up going, and like having that like attachment to like the characters and the gameplay. I guess talking about the gameplay, it's pretty like straightforward as far as like fighting back to back, but it's about how you utilize like the different mechanics, and how you approach it. How do you get there instead of like, can you get there? No, it's how you get there. A little bit of rambling aside, all of it just come together, and I just really was so attached to this one. It's also, I guess, side note, this is the only game I played like so far out of the entire like nominations, like on the left hand side from what I'm seeing. So that's why TLDR, it's my favorite, and why I would like personally vote it as like the game of the year.
I think it's interesting because Tears of the Kingdom to Breath of the Wild, there's actually things I like more in Breath of the Wild than I like Tears of the Kingdom. But then there's things that Tears of the Kingdom just blows Breath of the Wild out of the water. That being like the exploration, like Tears of the Kingdom's exploration is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
The exploration aspect of just is been like wrapped up tenfold, especially with the addition of the depths. That was so crazy to look at.
Mm-hmm.
And all of the sky. But then I miss some of the items and the power-ups in
Breath of the
Breath
Wild.
of the Wild.
I
I
get that.
actually don't like the champions, not the champions, I don't like the sage
abilities
as much as I as much as I like the champion abilities.
Mm-hmm.
I think a good Zelda ability for that kind of game is when it's integrated into your moveset. And the champion abilities in Breath of the Wild do that in spades.
That's fair.
Over here, I forgot the Goron's name, but
Yonobu, yeah.
I know just like deciding to just roll when he wants to, and I'm like, homie, I didn't mean to. But I digress. It really, the story is a lot better in this game, tenfold. But you're right, it's a bad sequel. When that's in layman's terms, it's a bad sequel to Breath of the Wild. It's a fantastic gameplay sequel to it, but story-wise, it's a terrible sequel.
I think a lot of people like go back and forth about that too. Their frustrations about it. It's ultimately a creative like direction that they decide to go forward with in order most likely to allow people to just jump into Tears of the Kingdom more over than Breath of the Wild. Some people may argue that the sales would only bolster it up if you needed some context from like Breath of the Wild, but I understand that maybe not everyone wants to just jump into a game expecting to have to play like two other ones or another one to catch up. But I don't know. I think Tears of the Kingdom like works totally well, and it's just unfortunate that there isn't like a lot of connections between Breath of the Wild that's like an actual nod, aside from like pure necessity things like the fact that Mipha's like Sidon's sister. That's like you have to add that in there.
Well, yeah.
Or the fact that like Rivali has like an actual like place in the village that's actually is named after him, Rivali's Landing.
I do want to point out that this is the Switch's actual like mainline Zelda.
Oh yeah,
Breath of the Wild was a cross-gen game. So this is the exclusive Zelda game for the Switch. Like it is the Switch's. Like when people are going to talk about the Switch, this is going to be in the conversation. As is Mario Wonder going to be the 2D Mario, and Mario Odyssey being the 3D Mario. Also, fun fact: this is the second time in a row Mario and Zelda, whenever their big games come out, they're both nominated for the same thing the same year.
Oy.
Breath of the Wild and Odyssey were both nominated for Game of the Year that year as well.
That's crazy, yeah. Who actually won in 2017?
Breath of the Wild.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, that's fair.
But competition was slim, so.
Then again, yeah, Odyssey was really good though.
Odyssey was fantastic. It was my Game of the Year that year.
But I get it. It's tough.
Because I'm a person that likes Odyssey more than Breath of the Wild, but that's a little bit of biasm.
Mm-hmm. No, I think
But
oh, sorry.
oh
Go
no,
ahead.
you're good, you're good. But the other nominees were like they're not even competing, dude. Horizon Zero Dawn,
Yeah, that's true. That's
which
unfortunate.
is fine. Horizon's a great game. It's just not when it's up against Zelda.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to remember that year, but anyways, this is a tough one.
Mm-hmm.
I think all six do have a spot up here. If I was gonna get rid of one, it's Resident Evil 4, and I would have put either Hi-Fi Rush or Final Fantasy 16 because they both deserve it.
Yeah. I'd probably say Resident Evil 4 for like Final Fantasy 16. Personally, just personally.
I just think Hi-Fi Rush is Xbox's best game this year. I know a lot of people said Starfield, but nah.
Yeah,
It's Hi-Fi Rush. Hi-Fi Rush is in my opinion, the killer app for the Series X.
mm-hmm.
Like if you get a Series X, you need to try out Hi-Fi Rush. It is the best game on there. Tenfold.
Yeah. I'd have to try out Alan Wake 2 in order to like gauge whether or not I would put this like here. But the fact that it's here means like a lot for it, considering it's a sequel to a game with an entirely different genre at that point.
Yeah. This year was stacked, dude. The thing is, all these games in the screen right here, these are games that I would love to play. All of them.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a single one here that I was like, that's not my kind of game. Nah, I want to play every single one of these games.
Mm-hmm. Man, dude.
So what's your vote?
So of course I will just pick Tears of the Kingdom. Honestly, like having revisited like my thoughts about that it gameplay wise, it just evolves from Breath of the Wild as far as like the simple like swipe dodge, but it's also like, using specific like items that you've like gathered up as part of like your weaponry, to the story, to the characters story and the characters, because I think both of them had like a really big impact together. Um, but yeah, it's also the only game I've actually played out of the listings here so far. So that's why I lean so strongly towards Tears of the Kingdom.
Makes sense. This is tough. I'm gonna go with what my heart tells me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
It's Super Mario Brothers 2, Game of the Year.
It's gonna be Mario Brothers Wonder.
Fair enough.
I think it's hard because it's that feeling that I get where I get a game that comes out and it reminds me of why I love video games. And Mario Brothers Wonder is that game. Because when I think about it, Tears of the Kingdom is going to be a game I rarely come back to. That's hard. Like I have to be in the mood for it. Mario Brothers Wonder, I can just pop in and just play.
This is also true.
But I will say that I'm really excited in the future whenever I have kids to show them the games like Mario Wonder and Tears of the Kingdom. And really,
Mm-hmm.
like these games are incredible. All of these games actually, really. So my vote's going to be Mario Wonder.
That's also fair. This is a very interesting Game Awards, or at least it will be. December 7th?
December 7th.
All right, so, oh man, it's kind of close, but I was wondering, what would you like to do with that event? As like Tanuki, or just like, what do you want to do on your own?
Well, considering it's a Thursday.
It's a Thursday, so it's like there's not a good chance that anyone could just request that off.
Yeah.
It's tough when it's like that. And like, do we
Because
remember what time is it?
We can all get together to watch it. That's not the hard part. It's trying to do something content creating wise, like.
Oh yeah. Especially, yeah, because not only is it like about like the games, but it's also about the reveals as well.
That's why.
Oh boy. I guess we'll have to definitely just talk about that later on as we get close to the days and we realize like what plans might take us up. And that's mainly just whatever like work has us in mind. But I think that's kind of it. We've definitely spent quite a bit on the Game Awards.
There's a lot.
I did want to just point out the fact that as far as things that happened this past week, this was definitely the most I spent like monetarily on like video game related stuff, and I'm not even done because this week was Steam Deck OLED and another like restock.
You're
and
crazy.
A new like a new like series of analog pockets that I've been eyeballing for a little bit, or at least the pocket itself. So I'll have a lot more once I receive that. I hope next week, but we'll see. But dude, Black Friday's like around the corner, and you know they're already sending out like what the deals are, and like literally Best Buy's like my cart is like $200 worth of just like physical games. I'm like, I can't. It's tough. We're there, and that's all I really want to talk about.
I do want to bring up one more thing this week.
Mm.
Because it was a big thing yesterday. It was a big commotion, and I do want to speak my part on it at least. Yesterday in the morning, it was leaked because they accidentally uploaded it to the PSN a little too early.
Ooh.
A little too early. Sony jumped the gun there. But because of the leak, they had to just go outright and announce it. And the rumors were true. Naughty Dog is remastering The Last of Us Part 2.
Ooh.
And
speaking of remakes, huh?
Listen, I said it on Twitter and I said it to you guys. I'm gonna say here. I take back everything I said about Last of Us Part 1 being an unnecessary remake. This is an unnecessary remake. Now, granted, it is a remaster. They're not doing too much to it as much as they did to Part 1.
Mm-hmm.
And there's been some news in the light of it that it's only a $10 upgrade if you own the original.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
So really $10 for 4K, native 4K, DualSense features on your controller, a new roguelike survival mode where you could play as more than just Ellie and Abby.
Okay.
They confirm Liv and what's his name? No, Liv and then the
main dude?
Well, no, the partner that's with Abby towards the end of the game.
Oh, that guy? Ooh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
You get to play with them.
Cool.
That's confirmed so far. I think Joel's in that game, but they don't want to say it.
Yeah, they, like of course we want to add Joel, but like let's just not say anything yet.
But there's that. There's cut level content. Like there's like
really?
There's these like prototype levels that they're adding in the game just so you can check out. So it's things like that I like, right?
Mm-hmm. So it's like it's really just like a DLC at that point,
basically.
But it's also an upgrade at the same time.
It's also the fact that Naughty Dog hasn't made a new game on this console yet. It's all just been remasters
and
remakes.
Yeah. I think when you put it in that light, it feels really excessive. Because if they well, also the timing of it too. Because
like Uncharted 4 and Lost Legacy got a remake or ports.
That's fair.
Last of Us Part 1 was a remake. This is a port. Like it's like Naughty Dog. I love you. You are my favorite PlayStation studio. Please. Don't do that. Like I need either something new in one of your series or a new IP.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, there is a physical copy.
Ooh.
Exclusively through PlayStation Direct.
What the?
Yeah, it's because do you remember how Part 1 had the Firefly edition?
Yes, I do remember that.
This is the WLF edition.
Oh my god.
And that's the only, as far as I know, that's the only way you're getting a native physical copy of this game. There is no other way. So you have to pay up the like $80 to $90 for this thing.
Kind of mixed feelings about that, but okay.
I don't like that either. Look, if there was a standard copy, I still wouldn't buy it day one, but I would wait for a sale.
Right. But the fact that it's only PlayStation Direct and just it's stuck on a collector's edition.
Yeah. I hope there is a physical copy. Maybe they just haven't posted because pre-orders don't go up until December 7th or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
They don't go up until the day of the Game Awards. That's right.
Oh, okay.
So it's like maybe there's a normal physical copy, but they haven't announced it. Granted, I'm not like itching to just like I gotta go out and buy this. I will wait for a sale. I do think the dual like let me tell you that I think it's unnecessary to remake this game like this. But if you're gonna do it, this is how it's done. I get it.
Yeah. It's tough. I think I would have had them lead in with the fact that it is like a legitimate upgrade as a like a PlayStation 5. Obviously they had like additional like bump ups as far as like, frame rate and everything like that, but definitely
Yeah.
to sell it as like DLC and then later show that like, oh, we're actually like rebundling this as like part 2 will be available on PlayStation Direct. I would have them do the standalone like standard edition and then a collector's edition. And then, I think that would not feel as I guess money hungry per se. More of it's like, hey, we want to add more to it, to the existing game. But that's my take on that.
Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like we really don't need it's weird because I'm a person that's like, oh well, it's backwards compatible on PS5. Why would I need
Especially like
another
so early
version
on,
of that
yeah.
game? Yeah. Like Last of Us remastered on PS4. Okay, that makes sense. You can't play PS3 games on PS4.
Right.
You can already play The Last of Us Part 2 on your PS5.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's weird. I don't know. I have mixed feelings about it, but to say that I don't want it in my collection would be lying, I guess. I do want it. It's just
Yeah.
I don't know. Not for that price.
Yeah. It's
That's
weird
too
because
much.
obviously you have games that have like remakes here and there. Backwards compatibility aside, just like remakes and remasters just happen in different time frames. And it's always comes down to the fact that these are different companies with different types of mindsets, and when the strategy is to like set out like for a remaster as far as like for monetary success. And I personally feel that like Last of Us Part 2 like remaster might be one of the last things that Naughty Dog should focus on if they want to just continue like to make games. But they've been kind of stuck with it for a while, so like I would want them to just work on something else as well, preferably something from their old like line of franchises. But yeah, we can only wish.
Yeah. I don't know. That's all I wanted to bring up. Yeah.
Gotcha. And dude, next week is gonna be crazy. As far as just like actual like real life events, it's Thanksgiving. If I could make the podcast, I'll try to, but otherwise I won't like hold any promises to that, and we'll just wait till the following week. But yeah. But is there anything else you want to bring up, Phil, before we go ahead and call?
I put like I'll just quickly mention it. I totally forgot to do the other pickups. I got these two from Premium Edition Games.
Oh, okay, cool. I did see a little bit of that.
Yeah, I got they're both by Retroware, but let me just quickly go over it. It's a Eagle Island Twist plus Eagle Island. This is a 2D platformer. They're both different games. They're both on here. So Eagle Island was the original game. That's a randomly generated game. It's a Metroidvania randomly generated, kind of like a robot named Fight.
Oh, okay.
But this is the team who published the Angry Video Game Nerd game. So yeah, but Eagle Island Twist is an actual like I think it was 50 something levels of actual like well-designed levels that you have to traverse to. So you get both kinds of games on here, and I think that's a cool idea to have both. The original that people didn't really jive with, and then this new one that people are like talking about. And then the one I'm really excited for. This is a little game called Love 3. It's a 2D platformer, but it's so much more than that. It's like 25 levels, and it's one of the toughest platformers ever. You just have to be really good at it, but you can make your own checkpoints.
Oh.
So it's fair. It's a fair game. It's tough. It's unfair, but you can make checkpoints where you need it to be.
Hmm.
So another thing that makes this collection or this game really cool is it's technically a collection. It comes with every single level from every single game in the series redone in this engine. So there's every level from the original Love. Apparently there was a Love remastered. Granted, these are Flash games back in the day. So there's like a game called Love Remastered that's on here. Love 2 Kuso, which is the one I actually played, which is why I know of the series.
Oh, okay.
The original 2007 version of Love with prototype levels, all of that's on here in this physical copy, and I'm really happy to have this in the collection. I'm gonna play this soon, probably over my Christmas break. That's all I got. And Mario RPG, obviously.
Right, I was gonna say like Mario RPGs, we got it right here.
Yeah,
it's one of those situations where like I know this game's not gonna be on sale for a long ass time because it's just Nintendo. Nintendo does that until like maybe years later during like specific holiday events. But it was one of those things where it's like, yeah, honestly, I missed out like way back when, so this is the opportunity for people to jump in. I would say the same thing about Thousand Year Door when like that shows up later down the line, but
it's also a remake of a very expensive Super Nintendo game. So
yeah, I guess you should probably
like for collecting purposes. Here's the thing about late Nintendo games. For collecting purposes, trust me, just pick it up because you're gonna regret it, like I do with a lot of 3DS games right now.
Fair. Yeah. I guess it always like sucks too, but like devil's advocate, like not everyone like really picks up on certain like franchise that they'll end up liking. And so when they try to look back on it, it's like, oh, I can't really get it right now anymore or anymore.
Yep.
So yeah. So whenever you see it and it's like remotely interesting, then I would advise try to get it if you can. In this case, well, I mean, the case of Mario RPG, you already see the facts from its history. Just go pick it up.
Do it. And yeah, that's it.
Alrighty. Well, guys, I guess that's gonna be it. I guess when we actually have our own like little like Game Awards thing, it'll probably be sometime after actual Game Awards. So maybe somewhere like mid-December or near the end. We'll see.
Yeah. I mean, there's still some games coming out. I just don't think they're gonna make the list.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. Like a Dragon Quest Monsters is still yet to be seen. It's coming out.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and there's something else in December I forgot. But yeah.
Yeah. Alrighty. In that case, we'll go ahead and call it here. Guys, appreciate everyone for tuning in for this episode of DangIT Prodcast. This has been episode 481. My name is Justin.
I'm Philip.
Mark was here. And thanks for watching, everybody. #bye, everybody.